slammed and tried to maintain control of the vehicle, but the bus flipped onto its passenger side and slid into a ravine. Bystanders rushed to the aid of the students and adults by climbing in through the windows. The 5 special needs students and 2 adult workers were treated at area hospitals for non-life-threatening injuries. Also in June, a mom with a baby stroller stepped to the side of the road to allow a car to pass. Then, the wrong-way driver plowed right into them. They flew up into the air and crashed down on the car.
I remember hitting the windshield. I broke it with my head. And even worse, I thought my child was dead.
Rachel tried to move the stroller with her son strapped inside out of the car's path. Her son Charlie had a tire mark on the back of his head.
You can see that when he's in midair, he's hanging like this, arm's length head, and his head is actually grazed by the front left tire.
Rachel was scraped up and injured 3 discs in her back. A good Samaritan who saw what happened crashed his truck into the 16-year-old fleeing driver. The driver pleaded guilty to assault and hit and run and was sentenced to 5 to 7 months at a juvenile detention camp. In January, video of this road rage incident in Miami was released. The video starts with Eric Popper relaxed and singing. Next, police say he cut off another car.
Oh my God.
You can hear the other driver honking his horn. Popper glared at the rearview mirror. He says the other driver tailgated him and made obscene hand gestures. Moments later, Popper opened his center console and removed a handgun. When the other vehicle pulled up, Popper opened fire. Cops say he fired 11 times. If you look closely, you can see the other driver apparently throw a water bottle at the car. Popper says he thought he was being fired upon and was acting in self-defense. In June, this man spent Father's Day protecting his child from a gunman at a gas station in Detroit. The suspect opened the door, pulled out a gun and clip from his pants, inserted the clip, and pointed it at a man inside who was holding a baby. The protective dad immediately reacted, swatting the gun away and then running further into the store as the gunman retreated outside. The suspect then backed away, turned around, and left. Afterward, a person of interest was put into custody. In November, security at a Buffalo, New York substance abuse treatment center stepped up when a man walked into the lobby with an AR-15. The guard went straight for the gunman. He wrestled him into a corner, pinned him up against a wall, and dragged him outside before other guards came to help. Cops say the incident was an attempted robbery for drugs. The suspect was arrested and charged with several felonies. This woman versus bison incident is from October.
I was way too close.
Rebecca Clark was hiking in a Texas state park when she came upon a herd of bison.
I'm gonna try to see if I can make it by. Wish me luck.
She waited for them to pass and engaged in conversation.
All right, guys, keep going. Go over there to your babies so that I can get by. There you go. Keep going.
I just thought, well, I'd already passed them 2 miles ago, and then I came back through and I felt confident about it.
At first, the bison ignored her.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But as Rebecca got closer, one bison turned and growled before charging her.
Good Thursday. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. It's like, what is going on with this StreamYard still? Oh my gosh. Shit's crazy. Hello, Kelt. How are you? Thank you for that intro message. What's up, Pam? Autocorrect. Jody's cool. What's up? Hey, Cassie. "36-week ultrasound almost done. Nice. Yeah, what's the due date?" Approximately 5 pounds, 8 ounces. February 2nd. That's right. What's up, Dre? Thanks for hopping in. Kib Kitty. Hi. Oh, look at that. What's up? No, it's just on the fly, you know, in a rush. Sorry, I was late going live there. I was like, oh man, I looked up. I'm like, crap. It came up on me so quick. But I did get all my prep done. So that's a plus. I was able to get all my prep done today. Honked at a car that cut her off. Dude slowed down. Whoa, damn. Oh, poor thing. What's up, Allison? SRB. How you doing? Cherry. Sent a short that Scott did about Prince Harry fighting with Prince William. I'll have to check my links. I have so many emails. I haven't even been able to check those. I apologize. All right. Nothing is set up here. Let me open up my screen share. I wanted to start off. I'd heard this just a little bit ago. Lisa Marie Presley hospitalized. What? So let me turn this music down. Now that well, we know now that the next court date for Brian Kohberger is what, June? So I imagine everything with Brian Kohberger is gonna die down here soon, unless something crazy comes out. With the gag order, and then with the gag order, and then the next court date set for June, we probably won't get a whole bunch of anything. I'm sure you guys know that already. So the next couple days we'll be able to get through a lot of the stuff that I have saved, and then we should be able to transition this weekend into a larger variety of topics again, and get into some nights where it's specifically about just certain individuals. I got a little bit of information. Thank you, Cherry. Got a little bit of information about the public defender for Kohberger. I did want to do some about that. I do want to look up some stuff about Catherine Ramsland, the professor, that Coburger had. I do, it's still going to be tied in a little bit, but we're going to kind of venture out. Plus, I get to put more attention on, like Anna Walsh and a couple of other cases that I have saved from a few days ago, I think 4 days ago, maybe. Could be 5. Stuck in the bottom. So we just kind of have to dig some of that out, go through them. Then we'll get to those other cases. So I imagine probably this weekend's going to be the transition into, back to where the show was before it was dominated by this. But it's been a good domination, though. There's been a lot of great brain stew that we've been able to create, being this busy and talking about this case so much. Yeah, it's, I got a couple days worth of stuff. I was able to do all my prep tonight. There's like 3 days or such. And I think what I'm going to start doing is, instead of getting rid of these videos that I save, I think I'm going to have like, maybe like a folder for like every month or something. Maybe I'll have a folder of videos just saved from that month. So I don't know, just a couple different things. I'm also thinking about when I might maybe like Sunday afternoons, maybe do a sports show, Sunday afternoon sports or something. That way everybody still gets their true crime and such, in the evenings and all that. And then if I do venture into the sports area, I could always do it Saturday and Sunday afternoons or something. So my afternoon shows, maybe I'll do sports or something. That way I'm not taken away from the nightly true crime and breaking, I don't know, just a couple things I'm trying to figure out. I'd also like to figure out maybe one day a week where I could have off. Not only just to have a break from the show, but also to use that day off to actually do more edits and, stuff like that for the channel. Edits and shorts and, any kind of, graphic design, stuff like that, just maybe set aside a day for just nothing but work for the show, not on the show kind of thing. I don't know. Mailman reported it when found 5-year-old. Reported what? 4-year-old missing. Where's that at? Trey? She stopped by here briefly. Sorry if I didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Who leaves their 5 and 4-year-old at home alone? Probably an addict. Did it have something to do with a substance? I don't know. That's usually how it goes. All right, let me check out this video. Lisa Marie Presley hospitalized. It's only a 24-second video, but I do want to check it out.
Went into cardiac arrest at her home in California. When paramedics arrived at her home, they performed CPR and were able to regain a pulse. They rushed her to the hospital where she's being treated now. Lisa Marie and her mother, Priscilla Presley, were just at the Golden Globes on Tuesday, along with the team that produced the Elvis movie. Lisa Marie is Elvis Presley's only child.
Dang it. Oh, now it's going to throw me all the way back to the freaking top, isn't it?
We're back with an update on Lisa Marie Presley.
Oh, please don't, YouTube. This is so ridiculous when you do this. Oklahoma. Oh, it didn't do it for once. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Let me look at chat real quick. Let me me see. Bio's mom, cousin arrested. I don't even know what case this is. Had a heart attack. I know it doesn't, does it, Cassie? It's like YouTube or StreamYard, right? Freaking neither one of them can work with this shit the last week and a half. It's like, fuck. Give me one night. Okay, Anna Walsh appeared to be selling off assets prior to disappearance. I'll get into that in a little bit. There is some Delphi stuff here because we do have a Delphi court date coming up. I do want to see the actual hearing. Let me see where it is. Where'd it go? I have it somewhere here. It's from like a local news. Full Idaho. Okay, here we go. Creme 2. Watch the actual one. And I don't know why was everybody freaking out about these cuts? I mean, it was obvious they weren't there in his first court appearance, and as soon as I seen him, I'm like, yeah, you probably cut him shaving because of the shit razors in jail. I mean, why was everybody thinking it was part of the freaking crime or had something to do with it? I'm like, damn, they would have been there the first court appearance. Y'all are crazy. What's up, One Bucket?
Right.
Y'all are crazy. It's like, what the fuck?
Please be seated.
It's like people saying that Koberger was tracking the DoorDash guy. Had the phone shut off. Oh, go.
Right. Good morning. We are on the record.
See, those razors are shitty. They gotta be. That sucks. That sucks that he cut him. Man, that shit's gotta hurt. He must have just shaved right before court or something. Look at that. It looks like he just got out of the shower. Damn, why didn't his public defender, like, try and clean him up a little bit or something? Jeez. I mean, you gotta imagine, like, them razors in jail gotta be shit, you know? They gotta be. Let me see, I have a few channels on BK if you want. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get to the links and stuff tonight. I'm not sure. I'm hoping, but I'm definitely gonna get to all of them in the next couple days here. Have you all seen Koberger's lawyer's discovery? Yeah, the discovery request and Koberger's freaking this right here. Request info on mystery co-defendant. Ain't that odd as well? Request info on mystery co-defendant. Thank you, SRB. As the next hearing is set for June. Briefly appeared in court, and then it says right here. Let me see, where'd it go? Let's see. In the court filings submitted by his public defender, Ann Taylor, Koberger requested any written or recorded statements by a co-defendant and the substance of any relevant oral statement made by a co-defendant, whether before or after arrest in response to interrogation by any person known by the co-defendant to be a peace officer or agent of the prosecuting attorney or which are otherwise relevant to the offense charged. Isn't that interesting? Drug tests, electronics. Look at that. The request for discovery. Yeah. We'll see though. It could be a trick, you know. Just like when he got arrested and he asked if anybody else had been arrested. It could be just a trick to throw shit, you know. My client asked. My client. Someone's schoolmate of his sent see that, but I don't think he went through primary and it was BK. He said normal guy. I might have it, Kel. I did save a bunch of videos here. Distractions. Exactly, one bucket. Exactly. Or even to throw off a jury, right? Because I'm sure the public defender requesting that is going to, you know, make some people go, huh? Like we are. But I think it's just a trick. But then again, there are some people that feel that there was more than one person that did this. So that goes along with what they're feeling as well. Then Daily Mail had an article from some cheerleader BK liked and second she tells stories about kids speaking. I mean, that's in 6th grade too, you know, a little make up, you mean? Well, isn't there 2 more? One bucket. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it's an interesting nugget, isn't it, Kel? I can't do some court chatter. Exactly, Kip Kitty. I read an article that said it's standard language in a Discord request. Huh. I have the paperwork if you want it, Kel. Not sure if I can get it to you, but I do have it. I can always give you guys each other's emails if you need to. But that video is from another YouTuber. You had male schoolmate. Punksy, what's up? But that video is... I didn't see Punksy slip in here. Where'd Punksy go? There! There's Punksy. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. All right, let's switch back to this. Yeah, I just thought it was funny. I was like, the dude didn't have him the first time. Come on, guys. Come on.
Is cause number PR29 by Robert Kohlberger. Mr. Kohlberger is in custody. He is appearing here in court with his attorney, Ms. Taylor.
God damn, that looks like it hurt. Oh, it looks like it hurt.
This is the time set in the matter for the preliminary hearing status.
I ain't never cut myself like
So
that.
I am going to require counsel, Ms. Taylor, what's the status at this time?
Thank you, Your Honor. We are going to ask the
Oh my
court
gosh,
to
quit
set
moving.
the
You're
hearing out.
creating all that audio boom.
Request the third
Oh my gosh, whoever's controlling this camera sucks.
Mr. Kohlberger understands his right to a timely preliminary hearing, and he's willing to waive the timeliness to allow us time to obtain discovery in this case. We'll be prepared.
And Mr. Thompson, are you agreeing with that?
The state has no objection to that, Your Honor. Ms. Taylor reached out to us by email yesterday with her proposal. On reflection, the state's calendar would be better in the month of July, but we will make the end of June work if that's the court's preference. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Ms. Taylor about that. Sorry, I know that's last minute.
That's okay.
Dude, you better be
court's
on your
calendar is
shit.
gonna be better towards the end of June, early July.
I don't know. For some reason, I don't get a good feeling about this prosecutor. I really don't.
So would that work, Ms. Taylor, from your scheduling on other matters?
Your Honor, yes. If you-
Right.
You do not actually, yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Kohlberger, I need to speak to you for a
I'm not
moment
sure,
then.
Cherry Chair.
Sir, you do understand.
That's a good
that
question.
Ms. Taylor has represented here that she's advised you of your right to have, or fully discussed with you the right that you have, which is to have your preliminary hearing within 14 days of the date that you initially appeared before this court. As you recall, when I advised you of your rights, that hearing is a probable cause hearing where the state has to establish that more likely than not, these felony offenses were committed and you were the one that committed the felony offenses. If you waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing, it does not mean that you're giving up your right to have a preliminary hearing. It simply means that you would not be able to come back and challenge that the state did not present probable cause within 14 days. Do you understand?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with Ms. Taylor about your decision to waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing?
Yes.
Do you need any additional time to do so?
No.
Then I will ask at this time as to the 5 counts, felony counts that were charged in the criminal complaint that was filed on December 29th of 2022. Are you waiving your right to a speedy preliminary hearing and agreeing that that hearing can be held outside the 14-day period?
Yes.
And Ms. Taylor, do you concur with this waiver?
I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
I will find your waiver of speedy preliminary hearing is knowing, intelligently, voluntarily entered here in open court with the assistance of counsel. We will go ahead and set the matter for a preliminary hearing.
I know one bucket. It's gonna be a while, unfortunately. But maybe fortunately, I guess. It's all about getting justice if it takes that. I mean, hell, the prosecutor was like, we really wanted to have July, so at least... God, he makes me nervous. At least they're getting the time that they need, I suppose. But he just, I don't know. Ever since those interviews, I don't know. I just got a weird feeling about that guy. Like he's not going to be prepared.
Monday, June
I have a feeling he's not going to be prepared.
26th at 9:00 a.m. And I will go ahead and reserve the week, so June 26th to June 30th, in the event that...
Oh yeah, it would have been bad for prosecution. That's why I thought he was going to go for the speedy trial, like, because it would have been bad for the prosecution. I thought for sure he was going to go for it, but, you know, the public defender probably talked him into, you know, hey, let's make sure we get this right. That way this, something crazy don't happen or whatever, to him. But I thought for sure it was going to be a speedy trial. I didn't see why it wouldn't. Coming from his side, because they would be off guard. How are you supposed to have all that shit ready, all that evidence, all of that stuff ready in time for a speedy trial? You knew they wouldn't. I'm surprised she didn't want to go for it too, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We haven't seen the goods. They haven't seen all the goods either. Who knows? Thank you, Kip Kitty.
And just so council knows, it will begin at 9 a.m. Is there anything further to address at this time in the case, Mr. Thompson?
Not from the state perspective.
Or Ms. Taylor? Okay. Mr. Koberger, then you will be remanded into custody on your saying no bail at this point in time, pending further proceedings. Again, we'll send notice out to council, and we will be in recess for this morning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Damn, that sounded like an elephant or something, bro. Damn, his face was cut the fuck up. Set for June. All right, we already watched, so it's probably the same. There's probably no talking in it, so I'll just remove that one. All right, let me go. What else here? What's the suspect face No, it was not. Oh my gosh. Come on, people. Why Idaho murder search warrant was sealed. Waives right to speedy trial. They're just going to talk more about that. Okay. That's the full hearing. We already watched that. I do want to watch his response, though, because he's got a response towards the bottom right here. Explains to the hearing. I'd like to hear what he has to say. I like his... Ooh, shoot. I better click on his page first. Uh-oh, it didn't let me, did it?
Brian Koberger appears in court, and
My
he's sporting
Lord.
a new look. And then our dumb criminal of the day.
My Lord.
Let's talk about it.
That shit was loud.
Good day, everyone. My name is
Come
Scott
on,
Reich,
YouTube.
and this is Crime Talk. We have a short video for you today, and the reason being, well, I was...
Oh, my Lord. What is going on?
Brian Koberger appears in court, and he's
Oh,
sporting
my
a
God.
new look. And then our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
What the fuck, YouTube? Oh, my God. This is getting crazy.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. We have a
Yes.
short
Let's hope.
video for you today, and the reason being, well, I was doing a preliminary hearing demand in a homicide case on the other side.
Yeah, this one, Pam. Did you watch the one about Richard Allen's public defender and the holes in that one? You got to watch that one too. Man, it'll make you sit there and make you nervous about that one too. At least it's starting in 6 months. In Texas, it's years before trial. Oh, really? Are they actually starting the... No, this is a preliminary. It's a preliminary hearing that they're having in June. It's not even the trial, Colt. Yeah, just the prelim. Yep. No, I sent you an email. Oh. About Scott? This guy? I think one of the biggest holes in the case is how they went into crime scene. No shoe coverings, no hair covers, nothing over their clothes. Some had no gloves. Yeah. And they first came. This is another thing that, you know, is gonna help with the defense. Is when the police first came out and said it was a murder-suicide. Then they changed it. I think I had my show for like 3 days when that came out, and I was like, murder-suicide? Whoa. Who murder-suicides with a frickin' knife? You know, like... I never heard of that. Never heard of that. All the video evidence, unreal, and people just walking right into the... Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's going to be interesting. I really do hope that they have this trial on TV, because it has to be. It needs to be. With all of this stuff on both sides, it would be a really good, even like a documentary in a way, because both sides have such odds stacked in different ways, you know, and it's going to be a battle of the minds when it comes to the lawyers, the evidence, the witnesses, the experts, the replies, the tricks. If he gets the house tossed out due to oh my gosh, you know, I don't know. It's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be very interesting. I hope they put it on TV. I really do.
The state just got back. Well, guess what? So was Brian Koberger, except he's in Moscow, Idaho. It was a preliminary hearing demand. As we told you the other day, it was a date to get a date, and that's exactly what took place. The whole hearing, which we put up so you can watch in its entirety, lasts roughly 5 minutes. Mr. Koberger was entitled to have a preliminary hearing within 14 days of the advisement of the charges. Obviously, his attorneys need more time to do that, and had he requested that hearing within 14 days, the court would have obliged him, as well as the prosecution. He waived his right to a hearing for a preliminary hearing within 14 days, which is his right to do. And he could have said no. He's listening to his attorneys that say, hey, this is an important case. Obviously, we have 4 deceased individuals, and we need to make sure we do our investigation, and we need time to do it correctly. So since there's no rush on this case, guess what? The court, the district attorney, and the defense counsel for Mr. Koberger agreed to a hearing date in June 26th. Now, I expect a little bit of a continuance, but I thought maybe 2 months, 5 months now? Really?
Right.
Wow. Anyway,
Yeah.
I hope they're ready, and I hope it's going to be televised so that we can see what evidence exists. Of June 26th, put on your calendars, a 5-day preliminary hearing. Now, Mr. Koberger was sporting a new look there in court, and it looks like he, I don't know, has some scratches on his face. There's been multiple reports, but let's face it. Do we really think he cut himself shaving? Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you're in custody, yes, they let you shave, but normally the sheriffs literally check in and check out the razor blade. And yes, it's not going to be the sharpest thing because they don't want it to turn into contraband.
It's probably one blade.
Somebody else, or Mr. Koberger could potentially harm himself. So they keep, pretty close eye on all the sharp objects.
It's probably one blade, and we all use 4 and 5 blades by now, Oh, gosh, I can imagine.
Oh, no. What was he?
And probably didn't even have any shaving cream either. Probably had to do it in the shower with no shaving cream. Ouch.
He shaving himself with. I mean, we all nicked ourselves shaving before, but never that big. What was he doing? Shaving with a K-bar? I don't know. Maybe he's not getting along well with others, and maybe, somebody made that abrasion on his face when they were rubbing it into the ground. Maybe somebody hit him. I don't know. Let me know what you think may have happened. I know we don't usually like to speculate, but hey, when they're going to make us wait another 5 months for a preliminary hearing, what else are we going to do, I guess? Just kidding. We like to keep it. But if you know what really happened, let us know. And then finally today, like I said, it's an abbreviated version because I had court, our dumb criminal of the day. So a woman in Florida, why is it always in Florida? I do not know. Her name is Karen Broad Merkel, and she was in a Walmart store, and she dropped her little backpack. It was a Paw Patrol designed backpack when she was in the pet food aisle. Well, some items fell out. She lost her Paw Patrol pack, and ultimately realizing later that she had left something behind.
What?
Just like somebody else. Who was that? Well, she returned to the scene of the crime and asked for her backpack. But guess what? The police had already been notified because the store employees had looked in the little backpack. And what did they find? Well, large amounts of controlled substances, also known as fentanyl. Yep, that's right. So when the dumb criminal of the day, Ms. Broad Merkel, showed up, well, guess what? Suddenly she didn't recognize that little Paw Patrol design on her backpack and the little container inside with the drugs at all. Go figure. Well, needless to say, since the store was able to have the video shown to the police that saw her, the last one in possession of that particular little backpack, guess what? She got arrested for possession of a controlled substance, and she was released on a personal recognizance bond. Pretty dumb. If you lose your controlled substances, let it go. Let it go. You don't need to go back for it. You're only going to get in trouble. All right, I know it was a quick show today. Sorry, had to do that lawyer stuff.
That shit was funny. I gotta watch that again. Oh, that shit was funny.
Broad Merkel. and she was in a Walmart store, and she dropped her little backpack. It was a
This
Paw
dude is
Patrol
awesome.
designed backpack
This
when she was in
guy's
the
the
pet
best.
food aisle. Well, some items fell out. She lost her Paw Patrol pack, and ultimately
Here it goes.
realizing later that she had left something behind. Just like somebody else. Who was that? Well, she returned to the
Oh my gosh. You know, I don't know what, it was like 3 weeks ago. We literally watched almost the hour episode that he had because he was literally on fire that night. This dude, he needs to do stand-up or something because he really does have a funny personality and definitely has jokes. That's why I asked about General Pop. I'd say it's from not shaving. You think he's in General Pop? They have him isolated. I would too. I mean, he's gotta be, somebody wants to make a name for themselves, and I'm sure they'd want to use him, right? I was looking, I just can't find if he's in. I'm not sure if he is. It takes all kind that makes the world go. I know, Cassie. Isn't that crazy? That shit was awesome. That's why I love watching his show. And plus, he's a smart motherfucker, too. For real. This dude, he is about his shit. Especially when it comes to defense cases and shit. This dude is the best. Alright, that shit was funny. Wow. Yeah, I started, when the Chris Watts stuff was going on. That's when I started subbing to him, actually. Yeah, because he was always, I don't know if that's when his channel blew up, because he's a Denver, Colorado. Where's that freaking thing? I was gonna take it out. Oh, I already took it out. Okay. That's why I don't see it anymore. Alright, let me go back to the top here. Search warrant sealed. I do want to watch this one real quick. See what's up with that. I don't know.
So while the students are moving in, as Brian showed you, trying to get their lives back together, there are still survivors of murders all
He's
around.
the best. I love
Just
it.
minutes from campus, as you saw. That's the scene. Just, yards and yards and yards of yellow crime scene tape wrapped around a house that used to be kind of a centerpiece for fun in that community. And that house is going to stay that way, at least for the next few weeks, because the defense has asked that it remain a closed scene until February 1st. Investigators were there as recently as Friday. They were taking things out again, including the mattresses, presumably. We think maybe for...
That's true, Cherry. Maybe they don't have, with it being a really small jail, maybe they don't have the proper, structure for it to have that. That's a good point.
For testing, patient purposes, but they tried to cover them up the best they could. Then just a 10-minute drive down the highway, this is the scene, neighboring Pullman, Washington. That's Brian Koberger's home at the Steptoe Village Apartments. It's also been a beehive of activity where Koberg was living on the night of the murders. And of course, the investigators have done a full search inside that apartment. They've hauled out loads and loads of evidence, including a computer tower. But all we know is what we saw with our own eyes, because as I mentioned earlier, the search warrant is sealed. Both the reason for them going in the first place, and then the accounting list of everything they took out. I want to bring in Darren Kavanoki. He's an attorney and the host of the investigation discovery show Deadly Sins. And Chris Anderson is a former detective who has investigated more than 300 homicides. He's the co-host of the investigation discovery show Reasonable Doubt. All right, you guys, I'm glad you're both here. When I saw the reason for the affidavit being sealed, I just thought it was pretty strident. I mean, some of the language made me think, Heavens to Betsy. I mean, I've seen search warrants sealed before, and it says, we want to preserve the investigation, period, and a story. But they used this language that was, prematurely end the investigation, threat to public safety. Darren, I'm going to start with you. As the lawyer, what do you make of that language?
Well, I think the threat to public safety is the idea that if they release the affidavit and the items that were actually seized, that it could compromise the investigation, and that the individual that everybody is so confident actually committed the crime may be able to dodge a bullet as a result. That the integrity of the investigation would somehow be threatened. Although I hate to take the wind out of anybody's sails, but I'll just remind folks that are feeling this sense of relief as they go back to school that an arrest is not the same as a conviction. And there's a very different standard of proof that's involved. And of course, that's one of the fundamental reasons why that the information concerning the search warrant is kept under wraps.
So, Chris, jump in on the fact that this is neighboring, Pullman, Washington. It's another state altogether, and I get it. Mm-hmm. Police work together. They work in tandem. The FBI was working with the state, was working with Moscow, but now you're in another state. Was this a request made by the teams that are working, the prosecutor possibly, in Idaho of the Pullman police? And would they play in the sand this well? Would they instantly acquiesce to any request that might be made?
Absolutely. Look, there is information that suggests that the defendant in this case is actually guilty. No police department wants to be the cause of any disruption in the investigation. So they are going to do everything that's asked of them to not release information, to not say too much about what was found or what they did, because it only goes to help the defendant and his defense in this case. So yeah, I could see them not wanting to say anything.
Sometimes it's a tip your hand thing. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But first, I want to read a second part of why the reason was given to keep this all under seal, because this one really piqued my interest, Darren. I'm going to quote, "The personal privacy interests of the witnesses, victims, and victims' families."
Good evening, Josie.
Named in the application also support sealing the documents filed in this matter. Look, I always feel for victims, Darren, but the personal privacy of the witnesses, victims, and victims' families, I'm trying to figure out what that means. What was in that apartment that might affect the witnesses and the victims' families? I mean, I've got visions of like flow charts of who's going to get murdered next and when they shower and when, you know what I mean? Like that's what my mind goes to. Is that too much?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not too much. I mean, that's the kind of obviously very compelling evidence that law enforcement officers hope to discover in this guy's apartment would be evidence that he planned or participated in other crimes.
Yeah.
But in terms of the language that you're pointing to, I think about the victims here. And oftentimes victims make certain lifestyle choices that could subject them to public criticism. There could be private medical information that just generally out of decorum don't want that information released to the public. And let's keep in mind that what's really, really vital here is for law enforcement officers to maintain the integrity of their information. And you mentioned it earlier about how reporters are looking for people to talk to and how they would just glom onto somebody. Well, if there's, say, a confidential informant, somebody who gave information to law enforcement to help justify the issuance of that search warrant, you don't want that person being identified. You don't want to send the media out there to start doing their investigation or getting quotes from that person, because frankly, the more statements that are made to the public by a potential witness in the case, the more opportunity there is to develop information that a good defense lawyer can use in cross-examination. So it may just be about the integrity of the evidence, and obviously for reasons of decorum to protect the privacy of the tragic victim.
That is where I come in on the decorum, because Chris Anderson, as a detective, when you read these, and I'm going to read it again, because every time I read it, I get a different vision in my head of what's in the apartment. The personal privacy interests of the witnesses, the victims, and the victims' families. What on earth does your mind go to about what's in Brian Koberger's apartment when you're talking about the witnesses in this case, the victims and the victims' families.
You know, it could be a list of that we could talk about forever. You know, but there has. I mean, it would suggest to me that there is something of grave importance in this investigation. So, keeping that portion of the investigation sealed is probably a plot for the prosecution in this case. So, yeah, I just. But
so, can I ask you this? Because you've been there, right, Chris? You've been there. You've done these investigations. If we're looking at the man that committed these murders, if it's him, and if he did, as the affidavit points out for the arrest of Brian Kohberger, that he was there 12 times, and much of it was at night. It's entirely possible he was taking pictures through the windows constantly, and that those pictures are up on walls somewhere, and he's fixated on these victims.
Yeah.
But that said, I could understand not releasing the photos, but saying that there's a collection of photos. Why, Chris Anderson, would the notion that there might even be photos, or there might even be flowcharts, or a list of victims' names or potential victims in the future? Why would that be something you'd have to?
Oh, wow.
You don't have to say the names,
victims.
but you could certainly say the nature of the evidence, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, this is a classic circumstantial case. You know, and by no means has this man, is there enough evidence in this case to convict this man. So this is still an ongoing investigation, and I think it may be in the best interest of the prosecution and for the public, for this person, if there is probable cause that exists that he did commit these very heinous murders, that he should be in jail, and they should continue their investigation, because there is information that's coming in at every step. This investigation is nowhere near closed.
Yeah, I'm always interested to hear. There's still a chance for him to beat the rap, especially when you read all of this, and it just sounds so incredibly incriminating. But you're right. We all covered OJ. We all covered Casey Anthony, so it can always happen. Darren Kavanaugh and Chris Anderson. I love talking to you both, and it's been so many years. And
yeah, that was a good watch. Wow, isn't that scary? For the protection of the witnesses. What'd she say again? The witnesses, the family, and what?
Personal privacy interests of the witnesses, victims, and victims' family.
Witnesses, victims, and victims' families. Yikes. Then she brought up a flow chart. God, that could be that could literally be the reason. And they said there wasn't any, I don't know. I have no clue. No idea. That's creepy alone. That stuff right there, that's creepy alone. You talk about freaking stalkers. Hello. Let's see. That was a good watch. All right. Found in husband's history, Law and Crime Network. I want to look at this one. Disturbing Google searches. I know he searched how to dispose of a 115-pound body or something, right? But I don't know what else he searched. Come on, YouTube. There you go. We're working here. Here's a link to the channel. If you're not following or subbing, keep using Twitch verb.
Welcome, everybody, to Law and Crime Daily. I'm Jesse Weber. Police in Massachusetts are expanding their search for a missing mother after finding some pretty chilling clues in the home that her family was renting near Boston. And during those searches, investigators reported...
Who did I get the video from? But how do you think they would feel about the atmosphere? Would that taint their... that's true, Coat. I mean, you did bring up a good point up there. If you're talking about the video, I think I just saved it in my subscription list, I think. Surely they have an idea. I don't think so, Kib Kitty. I haven't been able to check my links for a couple days now. I've just been saving stuff off my subscription list. Whatever's the break, and I go through the last 24 hours. with what I have for my subscriptions. They have an idea what the kids do, but I'm betting the defense will push the party house narrative. They probably will, really.
Reportedly found trash bags with.
And they're going to try and pull a whole bunch of shit, and we're probably going to call them disgusting. You know what I'm saying? But that's defensive attorney has to use certain tactics within, respect and reason to be able to, do what she's supposed to do, whether that comes from a plea or an acquittal.
Blood, a hatchet, a hacksaw, a rug, and of course,
if anybody would like the video to that, I can put the link in the
Tuesday,
chat
police
if you
searched
guys would
several
like one.
waste and recycling facilities in southeastern Massachusetts. Anna Walsh was last seen on New Year's Day. On
71, holy
She was
crap.
supposed to be on a flight to her job with a real estate firm in Washington, D.C., but she never showed up, and no one has heard from her ever since.
Damn, it's like
Her employer
freezing
was
cold
actually the
here.
one to report her missing. Now,
It
police
was
arrested
warm
her
today,
husband,
and
Brian
then after
Walsh, on
work it
Monday,
was
accusing
freezing.
him of misleading police. He was already awaiting sentencing in a federal case where he tried to sell fake Andy Warhol paintings on eBay. Walsh wasn't supposed to leave his home without permission, but police discovered that not only did he leave on January 2nd, he went to a Home Depot store and spent more than $400 in cash buying cleaning supplies. According to police, they found blood as well as a bloody knife in the basement of the home where the Walsh family was renting. And we've also learned that Walsh allegedly Googled how.
That's the home? What the fuck happened to it? Look at those windows. They're busted out and shit.
How to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body. He's not been.
Oh, it had a fire, didn't it? Oh my gosh. The house. It did have a fire, right? Is that what happened? I can't remember. There's so many cases now. I think it had a
charged
fire.
in connection with his wife's disappearance as of yet, but Walsh is being held in $500,000 bond for allegedly deceiving the cops. The Walsh's 3 children are now in the custody of the Department of Children and Family Services. So I have my two co-hosts with me today, defense attorney Brian Buckmeyer, former trial attorney Terry Austin. Brian, we have seen murder cases where a body's not found. Do you think at this point there's enough circumstantial evidence here for a murder charge?
I think they just need one more thing, and that's to test the DNA in the blood that's found in the basement as well as on the knife. If that matches for Anna Walsh, then I think they have everything, because they could at least say, we're going to get an indictment here. But in this case, there's no rush. That half.
Oh, that's sad to say, or sad to see that. Holy crap. 54, right? Wow. Exactly, SRB. It's like about the same here, but shit, it feels like 17. I know that's drastic, though. It's really. Wow, that's sad to hear.
$1 million bail for deceiving the police. That's not deceiving police bail. That's homicide bail. And I think they know they have enough information. They're holding on to him because they don't want him to disturb any evidence or try to get rid of it in any way. I think they could take their time.
Prayers to her
more
family.
Evidence as they move along, because he's not going anywhere with the state case or the federal case.
Terry, if they bring murder charges, is there anything you see about motive at this point?
Well, I don't think it's if, I think it's when they are going to bring those murder charges. It's just too much evidence against this guy. But I do see a possible motive. Oftentimes when you have the spouse, they're going to look for a triangle, a love triangle, or they're going to look for some financial motive. I don't see either one of those yet, but here's what I'm thinking so far, just based on the little bit we know. That eBay selling that he was doing was on her eBay account. Maybe he wanted to make sure she didn't repeat anything. Maybe she knew about it. And so he tried to silence her. Right now, I think that might be a motive. But again, you know, you don't have to prove a motive. You just have to prove that he intended to kill her. And I think we have enough of that.
We still don't have a lot of information, but
I didn't know that.
This is, we've seen cases like this before, and usually it is not a great end.
She said he was selling the eBay fake paintings on her eBay account. Whoa. So she was going to be a witness. Whoa.
In Newport News, Virginia, we are following updates on Friday's shooting at Rich Neck Elementary School, where a 6-year-old boy fired a shot at a teacher during class. And we now know that the weapon that was involved was owned by the boy's mother. Police say the young student used a 9mm handgun in the targeted shooting of 25-year-old Abigail Zwerner. Officials revealed in a press conference that it was legally purchased by the boy's mother and was in their family home. The boy brought the gun, I should say, to school in his backpack. Officials said Zwerner put her hand up in a defensive position when the shot was fired, and it went through her hand and into her upper chest. She's currently in the hospital, but it's said to be that she's improving. The police chief detailed the status of the suspect and what's next in the legal process.
Detectives talk with Human Services and Child Protective Services, our Commonwealth Attorney's Office. I've talked to Mr. Gwynn several times, as late as last night and this afternoon. The Community Service Board, which addresses mental and behavioral health. Due to the age of the child, we made these contacts and conversations to seek guidance on possible services, because none of us have a lot of information dealing with something like this. Our Community Service Board determined that a temporary detention order would be obtained from a magistrate, and the child is currently receiving treatment at a medical facility. As far as charges,
yeah, 6-year-old. I mean, what do you like? What's the protocol?
is against
A 6-year-old.
family members, parents.
What is
Once
the protocol?
the information, right? Once all the interviews have been conducted, as the gentleman behind you just asked about, the parents said anything. Once all that stuff is obtained, we know what we know from Human Services or Child Protective Services, what information the schools have. The other interviews that we still need, I'd like the detectives want to go back and have some more conversation with Abigail. We will present that and sit down with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. They will review that, and a great comment he made to me today was where the facts are and what the law supports will determine if there will be any charges. But I would be wrong to make that statement now. It'll be where the investigation leads.
Right. You gotta. Who knows what the home environment's like as well? You know, like if. Never mind. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Well, we'll continue to follow the case here on Law and Crime Daily, and of course, provide you more updates as they surface. Well, we now know prosecutors will retry that 70 show.
All right, I'm not really interested in listening to all that crap. I haven't even been paying attention to that one, so I couldn't even tell you any kind of opinion on that. Let me see here. Felt like there was one thing. Let me see. Where was it at? It was about the stuff Anna was getting rid of, I thought. Yeah, appeared to be selling off assets. I want to see what this says here.
A Massachusetts woman has now been missing for 12 days, allegedly last seen the early hours of New Year's Day. Her husband remains at the center of the investigation into her disappearance, and now News Nation has
know what
the
I'm
couple
saying?
may
I
have
just-
been selling off their assets, with Anna Walsh closing a cash sale of a condo just days before she vanished. News Nation's Evan Lambert is at a prayer vigil in the town of Cohasset. So, Evan, both Anna and Brian were involved in this transaction.
Nicole, it turns out that Brian Walsh did sign off on this sale, even though Anna's name was on the deed. Just moments ago, dozens of people gathered here at the Cohasset Common to pray for Anna Walsh, also for answers. More than a week has gone by since 39-year-old mother of three, Anna Walsh, vanished from her Massachusetts home. An interfaith vigil planned in her honor Thursday in the small seaside town of Cohasset. And with each passing day, loved ones, friends, and neighbors grow more anxious.
I think I had met Anna once.
Shannon Sylvia lives just across the street from the Walshes. Last week, investigators even searched her yard as part of a desperate attempt to find Anna. She says the family only moved into the home they were renting in Cohasset several months ago.
With like the evidence that's been surfacing, it's getting scary.
That's true as well, Pam. I mean, yes, I agree, one bucket. And I bet, Pam, I mean, I'm sure when you're facing fraud charges, it's not cheap. Especially when you're selling fake Van Goghs for 80 grand.
Scary, to be honest. It's finally like hitting us all that this happened right across the street.
Now we're learning the couple appeared to be selling off assets quickly. A deed News Nation obtained shows Anna Walsh owned a condo she'd been renting in Revere, completing the sale of it for $220,000 on December 29th.
Wow.
And taking away a profit of about $80,000 just days before she was last seen. Her husband, Brian, took part in the transaction, signing the documents as a co-guarantor. He remains in jail, charged only with lying to investigators about his whereabouts in the days after his wife's disappearance. And today I spoke to a source familiar with this condo transaction. That person says that it was relayed to them that Anna Walsh wanted this sale to go extremely quickly and that she wanted to move to Washington, D.C. Nicole?
All right, yeah, interesting twist there. Okay, Evan, thank you.
And she wanted to move to Washington, D.C. Huh. That's freaking weird. Did she... Okay, so they lived in Connecticut and she was wanting to move to Washington, D.C.? What?
To go extremely quickly and that she wanted to move to Washington, D.C.
She wanted it to go quickly and she wanted to move to Washington, D.C. There's no way he was going to be able to move to Washington, D.C. because he's got a freaking ankle monitor. So he knew that his cash cow was going to be dipping out. Why was she wanting to move to Washington, D.C.? Something. They're married, right? Oh, she worked and she lived in Connecticut? She lived in Connecticut, but... What's up, Kez Chick? How you doing tonight? She begged in a letter to have him on house arrest instead of jail, and that's what led to her demise. That sucks. Google is saying the average strength is 4 to 6 pounds. Huh. Yeah, is it that close to Washington, D.C.? Or is that, I don't know. I just assumed it was a long ass drive. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that little, I thought Boston was way up there. Or Connecticut, I mean, was way up there. And then Washington was like in the middle, kind of. Damn, what'd she do? Fly? She commuted weekly to DC. Had she filed for divorce? That's what, when I heard she wanted the sale to go quickly and wanted to move to Washington, D.C., I was like, huh. Did she file for divorce? It's a beanie. Stocking cap. I don't even know if that means it's easy. I think it depends on the gun. But he's wearing it like a mushmouth from Fat Albert. Yeah, my revolvers, but may just be revolvers. Huh. She wanted to move to Washington, D.C. I didn't hear anything about selling shit off, though. Just assets. I mean, just the house, I guess. All right, we'll scroll up here. Ex-lawyer reacts to Idaho student murders case. That was 27 minutes ago. Law and Crime Network. That's his ex-lawyer. We'll go to that at some point. Hearing in Delphi murder case. I do want to hear this real quick about Delphi. We got a court date coming up with that. It's called a sock hat.
Tomorrow morning, attorneys for the only man charged in the Delphi murders will be back in a courtroom. Richard Allen is accused of killing Libby German and Abby Williams near the Monon High Bridge in 2017.
Special Judge Fran Gall has a lot of issues on the schedule for this hearing, and Fox 59's Russ McQuaid joining us now in the studio. So, Russ, this hearing will really end up setting us up for the tone for the trial ahead.
Every decision that is made from here on in will make a big difference in the pursuit of justice for Libby and for Abby. Don't expect any answers to come out of Delphi as the issues are potentially so complex. The judge
Kezchick, it's nothing much. We just watched the court hearing today. Banfield, that was interesting, Kezchick. Banfield said that they're keeping the search of Koberger's apartment sealed due to the safety of the witnesses, the victims, and the victims' parents. So what does that mean to you, Kezchick? That's about all you missed, honestly. That's about all you missed. But what does that tell you, Kezchick? If his search of his apartment is sealed for the protection or safety or concerns of the victims, the witnesses, and the victims' parents. So Ashley Banfield was like, what, does he have a list? Does he have a flow chart on his wall? Like, she goes, that's the kind of shit I think about. And it's very interesting, and it could be true, because who says, what if this guy did have a fucking hit list on his fucking wall? Or he had, like, some shit like in GTA where the shit's mapped out with strings and all that shit, and it's like, okay, do this and do this, and who knows what was in there. The BK Public Defender. Okay, we'll go back to that one. But it was the X one, Pam, the one that's in Pennsylvania. There is definitely things in his apartment. You would think, right? Kezchick, there'd have to be. But what if he had a bunch of pictures? Yeah.
judge will take her time making a ruling that could last forever.
It took Carroll County detectives 5.5 years after Richard Allen first spoke to investigators to have him charged with the murders of the two girls along the banks of Deer Creek. While Judge Fran Gull will hear arguments about making her temporary gag order permanent.
I would think that she'll keep it in place, that there's no harm to having that gag order on both sides, from commenting on, etc.
And moving the trial away from Carroll County.
Imagine the jurors from that county if they had to go home, and how they would feel constrained and compelled to find him guilty.
On December 30th, the defense filed this discovery motion asking for names of confidential informants, all case reports, and a copy of the search warrant served at Allen's house.
First of all, I'd want that search warrant. I want that search warrant and the affidavit for the search warrant to find out if indeed that there was, if going into his house, that's legally supportable. That's the first thing I'd want to find out.
Right.
Prosecutor Nicholas McLeland says he'll give all that up.
The prosecutors going public and saying that, then get on there from a discovery and reveal the basis of that.
What the prosecutor says he won't surrender includes information on a deputy's lawsuit related to the investigation, character witness and criminal records, and a written statement about evidence proving the innocence of Allen.
You have to see everything. You have to see the entire investigative file.
Oh, so they got snitches in jail as character witnesses or something?
You have to see every interview that was done. You have to see every lead, every other suspect, what their sources of information were, so you can see whether it was trustworthy and reliable. You have to see the applications for search warrants to see if they were based on hearsay.
The judge is also set to meet with the defense behind closed doors to consider its request for funds to hire a private investigator. We'll be in Delphi from before dawn tomorrow, so you can tune in all day for the latest from the courtroom. Dan?
He reminds me of like somebody from like the movie Tombstone. All right, give me 1 second here. Is there something particular on that one, Pam? I just figure he wouldn't have too much information because he's the ex-lawyer. So it's really going to be a lot of his opinion, I suppose, but we can check it out. He is representing he is representing the parents.
Berger back in court, and he says he wants a preliminary hearing, but it's not going to happen until the summer. His former attorney is here with me. I'm Anjanette Levy, and welcome to Law and Crime Sidebar, our podcast. Brian Kohberger, that 28-year-old
one bucket
student from Washington State University, was in court on Thursday for a very brief hearing. We knew this was going to be all about scheduling.
You know, Kez
whether
chick,
or not his
very
attorneys were
dark.
going to ask for a preliminary hearing. That's a hearing where prosecutors are required to put on witnesses and evidence to show
I miss
that there's
Delphi.
probable cause that Kohberger committed the murders of Kaylee Gonsalves, Maddie Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Well, it was a big shock because Ann Taylor, his public defender,
About that much.
said they want this preliminary hearing to be held at the very end of June. Take a listen.
Are you waiving
I
the
don't
right
need
to a
that, Cal.
speedy preliminary hearing and agreeing that that hearing can be held outside the 14-day period?
Yes.
Joining us to discuss what happened in that Latah County courtroom today is Jason Labar. He's the chief public defender for Monroe County, Pennsylvania, and actually represented Brian Kohberger for a very short time during his extradition hearing in Pennsylvania. Jason, welcome to Sidebar. Thanks for coming on.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Your thoughts on what happened today? Ann Taylor, the attorney representing Brian Kohberger, asking for this 6-month delay in the preliminary hearing.
I found it quite unusual. That would be something that would never happen here in Pennsylvania, given the time constraints of hearings. However, I'm sure Attorney Taylor had good reason to ask for the delay.
Do you have any idea what her reasons could be? I can't think of
Yeah.
what they would be, but obviously, you know, they're still investigating.
Yeah, go ahead. If you guys have the links. Do you have it? I can drop it. Yeah, if you guys have the links for the content creators that hang out in the channel, yeah, for sure. Let me see here. Here, Kel, I will send this to your email here. And then if you want to copy this, you can just paste it whenever you bring up JSD or your Delphi stuff and all that. You know, you are part of the Justice Squad. So, yeah, go ahead and put it up there, and then I'll drop it here real quick. All right, let me get back to this here.
investigation going on. We know the white Hyundai Elantra was seized.
Of hearings. However, I'm sure Attorney Taylor had good reason to ask for the delay.
Do you have any idea what her reasons could be? I can't think of what they would
You
be,
know?
but obviously, there's still investigation going on. We know the white Hyundai Elantra was seized from the home there in Pennsylvania, so they're probably searching that. We're talking test results, terabytes of information, social media accounts, phone records, you name it, they are probably going to get it. And will they get that, do you think, before the prelim?
It seems like in the 5 months before the preliminary hearing, some of this discovery will be accessible. I know Attorney Taylor said that it was being continued for the discovery purpose. Obviously, the DNA can probably be back if there's any matches with unidentified blood DNA at the scene. But I don't know what it was actually continued for, but I have speculation. We bantered around the idea that perhaps it's to receive the search warrants. Those search warrants in Pennsylvania as well as Washington, although you could file a motion to receive those, by operation of law become available after 60 days. They become unsealed and are available. So that's a potential reason for the delay, as well as, like you said, terabytes of information from the cell phones from not only Brian's phone, but the 4 victims' phones could potentially be available and gone through by the time it rolls around for the preliminary hearing.
I know.
And wouldn't she be entitled, though, as his defense attorney, even if those items are...
Or Kezchik, even his Google searches on his phone. His Google Maps directions going from here to there. A lot of us use them for shit. He's new to the area, so he Google mapped everything. He had to get around, to get used to it.
under seal, the search warrants and the affidavits, wouldn't she be entitled to those even if they were still sealed?
I actually don't know the answer to that because it is Pennsylvania search warrants as well as Washington search warrants. Certainly Idaho search warrants that were executed, she should be eligible to retain those before the preliminary hearing. I'm assuming that she'd also have those prior to the preliminary hearing from Pennsylvania and Washington, but I really don't know the answer to that, unfortunately.
I want you to discuss with me the probable cause affidavit. You've read it like everyone else, the 19 pages. It discusses DNA evidence, cell phone pings, some type of Vans shoe print. We don't know if Brian Kohberger owns a pair of Vans sneakers, but they found a shoe print consistent with that there. The eyewitness identification. Your thoughts as a defense attorney representing, many people accused of murder on what that probable cause affidavit alleged.
Opportunity to look through the affidavit several times now. I looked it over carefully. It's a strong circumstantial case, but the evidence, when it's viewed individually, you can attack that evidence as a defense attorney.
Right.
Now, again,
That's what I've been saying this whole time since we read the affidavit. I'm glad everybody's seeing it. Thank you, Cherry, for getting that information there. BK is housed with 20 other inmates facing felony or misdemeanor charges. He's in a cell by himself, but it's general pop, so there's a lot of a lot of that going on.
Just in the infancy of the case, so much of this evidence is actually going to come after the preliminary hearing time, although we don't know now with this 5-month delay what's going to be available. But if you take the DNA evidence that's recovered from the sheath, for instance, I believe that to potentially be touch DNA, transfer DNA, which would mean that it could remain on that sheath for an indefinite period of time if undisturbed. That's one way of attacking that type of evidence that doesn't put him at the scene of the crime the night of, just that he merely touched.
Yeah, and Pam, if you go to any of my old videos also, you can, I do have Justice Served Daily in the title of the videos that she was on the panel. And actually, I had an open panel with Justice Served Daily and Silky Southern Tea a few weeks ago. That was pretty freaking entertaining too. But yeah, Any of the videos, you'll see Justice Served Daily in the title when she was on. We just had her on a few nights ago, actually.
That sheath at some point in time. The ID by DM is obviously going to be contested at the time of the preliminary hearing. I don't believe hearsay is admissible in Idaho under the rules. So it would be likely that DM is going to testify at the preliminary hearing when it gets to that point. So cross-examination of her is going to be key in the case to possibly get even more holes as far as the identification is concerned.
So let me ask you,
she's got really good videos,
strong,
especially about Delphi
affidavit, but did you see anything else there? I mean,
Pelt's
you
part
said
of the
you saw
Justice
places
Squad.
where it could be attacked, and right now it's words on paper. That's all we have to go on.
Right. And there's no direct evidence linking him other than that transferred DNA on the sheath. The idea, as I stated already, isn't complete 100%. Oh, it's Brian Kohberger. The white Elantra can't be determined to be his white Elantra. I mean, there's circumstantial evidence indicating that it could potentially be his white Elantra, but there's certainly not.
Yeah, because, when they were putting out the information, they were looking for a 2011 to 2013, not 2015.
Direct evidence. They don't have direct evidence that he's driving the white Elantra. They're using cell phone pings, which we all know as defense attorneys aren't GPS location coordinates. If it was GPS location coordinates, you're talking down to a meter as to where Brian Kohberger was at the time of these crimes. Whereas a cell phone tower ping is that you're within a radius of that tower up to 20 miles. And obviously,
this is what Scott Reich was saying
10
last
miles
night.
Of the University of Idaho where these crimes were committed.
Pretty much.
So certainly he could ping at any moment in time near the actual crime.
Yeah, and
Jason,
not even
you
be
were
there.
his attorney maybe for 4 or 5 days, something.
Scott Reich said he even used it one time. And, he even asked, can you guarantee that my client is not 30 blocks away from this location from a shooting? And they said, no. He said it. Yeah, exactly.
Like that. How do
Unless
you
it's
still keep
GPS.
in contact with his public defender out there in Idaho?
Rough, yep.
Are you just kind of done and observing this?
I'm merely done and observing and really viewing everything objectively because I was really working in the dark and blind when I read.
Yeah, that's why when I read it, I'm just like, hey, wow, it's a lot of evidence. But then I kept going into juror mental, and I'm just like, yeah, all these people coming out, it's slam dunk, it's solid. It's like, what? It's not until tomorrow. It's not until tomorrow. Maybe Powerball? Maybe it's Powerball. Mega Millions is tomorrow night. Because I'm buying me a ticket. I think the Powerball was only like 300,000 or something, wasn't it? Or 300 million or something. Yeah, they need blood DNA inside the house. Hey, Jody. Those pings only mean he was in town, right? Because it's a small town. Yep, that's exactly. I don't know where Connorsville is. Are you sure it wasn't the Powerball? Yeah, I'm not sure where Connorsville is at. All right. Yeah, Scott Reich pretty much. It's true. There's all these holes. I mean, potential. I mean, not all of these holes, but potential. Ask public to remember victims' names. Is this okay? Now I wanted to watch this video here. Thunder Sky Studio. It's a new channel I came across. So this is Thunder Sky Studio. And I'm not sure if we played one of their videos or not here yet, but it's a channel I came across and I was like, I'll check it out. we'll check it out. Pretty cool logo there. I like it. So that's Thunder Sky Studio. This is that Brian's white Hyundai driving by. We'll throw that up there. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and sub Thunder Sky Studio. Well, crap, how many different drunk? There's Powerball. I mean, but Powerball, you know, it's still 300 million. Uh-oh. What's up, buddy? Millions. We're 30,000. I don't know what you're Google searching there, Cherry. I don't know what you're Google searching there. All right, let me get into the. Where's Thunder Sky Studios? All right, let me play this real quick. You guys are crazy. Right?
According to you, Fox News released this video of a white car driving by on the morning of November 13th, near the house where Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan were murdered. The murders happened around 4 a.m. on November 13th, and this.
You know, Cherry, you can just remove your comment if you wanted. I don't know if you know that or not, but you can remove your own comment. That way you don't have to say, ignore that.
This video was recorded a few hours later. In the video, you can see a white vehicle in the background, which could be Brian Kohberger's Hyundai Elantra, but it's hard to tell the make and model of the car.
Yeah.
Take a look.
Ooh. Oh, hold on. All right, hold on here. I need to see the very beginning of that. All right, I think that's a good spot. I think that's a good spot to try and see. Let me look at something real quick. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna zoom it in here if I can get to it. Come on. Hello. Let me see here. I'm gonna zoom it in for a second. I'm gonna take a look for myself and see if I can get a good look at that back window. Because if I got a screen share, then I have to like close the screen share and do all this crazy crap. All right, so here's that. So let's drop that. Okay. So if I'm looking at the zoomed in, I pretty much got the same view right there. So I need to look up a side view. Of the white. (2015) side view. All right. me get to chat here. Where's the freaking side view? I clicked on it. There we go. All right, 1 of 80. We want the side view. Oh my gosh, come on. Buggy ass shit. Come on, StreamYard. Whoa. Okay, that's pretty much all we need, really. I just need this back tail light. For real? I'm picking on the frickin' side picture. $17, $18, $19, $20. So 19? Do I literally have to go to 19? Alright, I'm done with that website. That's nothing but a bunch of BS. Give me a freaking side view here. Give me a side view. Where's the side? There we go. 2015. It's a freaking video. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Keep walking. I'll get to chat here in a second. I'm sorry. I thought it would be as easy as just clicking on a picture and then I have it. But unfortunately, I have to go through all this crap. All right, right there. All right. So if I'm looking at this, no, it's not it. All right. So you look at this tail light right here. See this tail light? That's short. That's a small tail light. If it was that tail light, it'd be coming up here. That's a short tail light. This one is long and drug out. 2015 Hyundai Elantra. Long, like a teardrop. This one is not a teardrop. It's not his car. What do you guys think? Let me get to chat here. Don't think it. Yeah, this isn't his car. You look at the tail light. They're not the same. Yeah, it's not. It's two different. It's hard to tell if it's tinted or not. It's hard to tell. 360 million mega million is for 135 billion. Yes. From the pullovers, I believe his windows are not. No, they're not tinted. I noticed that everyone here tints windows will be turned into human-shaped pieces of leather, right? There are too many white cars. So I noticed that. Yo, CJ, Cassie, and I already. Oh, you did? Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I'm late on some shit here, you know. Even if they weren't tinted, you'd be able to tell in the video. I just looked up screenshots of BK car. His windows are not tinted. Rewind the video just a tad if you can catch it before the tree line. It's hard. This is about it's either right here. Oh, whoops. Either right here, which the camera is like, this car right here is like way up here, right here. It's hard to see through all of this brush right here. So it's like right here. or right here. I'm looking at what I wanted was the tail light. I wasn't looking for the windows. I was trying to look for the tail light, or I was either trying to look for the tail light or this part right here, because that's a very distinctive part on the vehicle, as well as how it kind of curves up there at the end. So I was looking for either this spot or a tail light, and pretty much got the tail light right here. And that's a two different completely tail lights. And the news could have figured this out, but they wouldn't. I don't know. I'm just yeah. I don't even think it's an Elantra. It's probably like a Chevy. It's probably like a Chevy. All right, so that was not the vehicle, BKs. So we'll go ahead and snap that one out of here. All right, we're knocking some shit out here. Court this week. Did Idaho subject to learn how to commit a crime? That's just speculation, but I would like to hear that one real quick. I like hearing all these people's opinions.
Could his study...
Whoops. Sorry about that.
How could his study of criminology have fit into all of this? Joining me now is criminologist and author Michael Arnfield. Michael, thank you very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right, so there was an op-ed piece, for example, in the New York Times of a criminologist basically saying, don't blame criminology here. A different thing. You agree with that?
I do. I first of all, criminology is a highly theoretical, model-based approach to understanding the origins of crime. I know of no traditional criminology program. This is one of them. I looked into this that offers, for instance, practical homicide investigation or common forensic countermeasures. I mean, this isn't a place where you would go, particularly at that level, to school yourself on how to get away with murder, to quote the television network series that a lot of people seem to be drawing perhaps influence from and coming to this conclusion.
What do you make, though, of the possibility that the motive was, and putting aside criminology for a moment, just to try to create the perfect crime?
Well, as you've correctly pointed out, this is the antithesis of the perfect murder in terms of the mistakes made, thankfully. We can only speculate as to motive at this point. I mean, clearly, and this has been mentioned before, whether or not there's a direct connection, this may end up being what's known as a targeted stranger attack, meaning one or more of the victims was on his radar. They may not have known it. And whether this was a thrill-seeking exercise on his part, really, I mean, we're hearing that, like a lot of, quite frankly, people in academic life, he thrived on needing to know or be affirmed as being the smartest man in the room. I mean, did that narcissism play into this? It's likely a factor. Clearly, he has an underlying interest in this type of stuff. Now, whether that was born out of his study of criminology or he was attracted to criminology by dint of pre-existing interest in murder and mayhem, this will all come out. But I would be particularly interested, actually, in and these will be accessible at some point, having a look at the papers that he's written. What were sort of his areas of undergraduate and then graduate interest and speciality, and is there some intersectionality there?
Is there a fear among you or others in your field that the field of criminology will now be stigmatized?
Huh.
That initially did occur to me when this was announced, that there would be, rightly or wrongly, a nexus drawn by the media between what he was studying and, of course,
well, yeah,
these horrible crimes. I mean, but if you think back The last PhD mass murderer was, of course, James Holmes outside of Aurora, Colorado, the Batman shooter. No one drew connections to his study in neuroscience to the crime. I mean, it's strictly
I want to look him
by
up.
virtue of unfortunate coincidence that he happened to be in this program.
You know, I remember that James Holmes stuff because Batman is like my favorite. And it was during a Batman premiere that took place. I wouldn't mind he studied it as well. That's interesting. I wouldn't mind maybe doing a show on him sometime too.
That I think now people are going to say, well, everyone studying criminology at that level must have some ulterior motive.
Me too, Cassie.
And here's the good news. The good news for your field is that there were a lot of his fellow classmates came out and spoke, and they all seemed to be, interesting folks who were fascinated by the field rather than potential murderers.
Precisely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Because, look, this is a story that still has a lot of questions. And yes, we're expecting this big hearing tomorrow. We'll certainly be covering it. But the most important question may have been answered already as to who done it. One more still exists. Why? That does it for us tonight. Thank you.
Nice. Oh, and guys, guess what? I should be having some new music that that instead of this funky space beat that's playing right now, I should be having some custom stuff coming in the next week that's going to be playing throughout the show. It's going to be like a very low, like church organ type music with some footsteps and some wind going from left to right, some different things like that. I was in conversations with somebody today that I was talking to about it. I was like, man, I really want some like organ, like a Halloween type vibe, just the organ with some creaky footsteps walking from your left ear to your right ear, and maybe some wind blowing from your right ear to your left ear, but you still got that haunting organ playing in the background. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to be testing it out some nights. So when I do test it out for the first night, you guys will have to let me know if it needs to be lower, louder, whichever. But fingers crossed. I don't know. I wonder if I tried downloading any music on here. The background music. I'm not sure how long of a clip it is. I'll have to fool around with it though, but it'll be pretty cool, I think. What's up, Detective Wong? BK's lower. Let me see here. Go back to chat here. That's what I don't want is debt, right? Because that's a lot of it is debt right now. It's when I started being freaked out at the movie theater. BK's lawyer did get that other case thrown out, but they did a second trial, and J.E. was found guilty the second time as well, so he went to jail. Yeah, that's what Allison was saying. It did get overturned or thrown out or overturned or whatever, but then it got turned back over again. Cassie in our state, probably in others, if you work for the uni, you get like 80% discount. Look into it. It covers your kids too. Oh, wow. Brian saw a medical professional 4 days. Whoa, StreamYard. That was weird. Saw a medical professional, huh? I wonder what for. And what's up? I saw that just a regular doc appointment. Office lady noted how chipper he was. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, spooky music. Like organ shit. I know when you play your videos and the crowd's very super loud, but that's... Oh, really? My background music's loud in the car. Not much. Jonathan Ellington, the court case that had been talked about making BK's lawyer. I heard it was a regular appointment. Oh, that's cool. All right, so there's that. We're knocking some stuff out tonight. Nice. This might be, let me see here. Exclusive interview. Ooh. Has anybody watched this one? I don't know. I think I just started following this channel. Analysis of Crime with CD. Exclusive interview with high school friend. I might... That's a long one. Let me look what else we got here. I did see something about an antifreeze trial, but I don't remember. Reddit. Yes, I did want to watch this too. Reddit users post eerily accurate. I still haven't heard nothing about that post from a day or two ago. We'll see. It's Thursday. I said I'd give it till tomorrow night, so we got time still.
And welcome to all three of you. Jennifer, I want to begin with you because as I've been reading these, I find very disturbing
they
posts, almost braggadocious, as though this person knew exactly what happened in that house well before the affidavit told us some things about that house. I also felt like there was a similarity in the attitude and the writing style between the Facebook poster named Papa Roger and the Reddit poster named Inside Looking. Is that just me, or do you see that too? Because you look with a whole other set of eyes.
Well, there definitely is a similarity. Just as you said, in their style and their confidence, in their details that indeed, in many instances, only the killer or the police would know. So from those standpoints, yes, you hit the nail on the head.
And if that's the case, they become a lot more evidentiary. I would assume, Trent, that all of a sudden, if I don't have the tools that the FBI has, the things that used to be in Jennifer Coffendorfer's suitcase are magic. They can subpoena ISP information, et cetera. But Trent, do you see that as something that could be just manna from heaven for prosecutors? If they can link accounts from Facebook to Reddit that brag about all these things and they're accurate, and they were well before that was made public, is that just sort of like, it's almost a smoking gun?
I think it is. And look, here's what's important. Not just that it was braggadocio, not just that it was, he had a keen interest in the case, but if it can be established that from the timing and the sequence that he knew things and he was, publishing things on Reddit as these various people that he claimed to be in these chat rooms, if that can be established, that he knew these things before police knew them, before they were publicly available, then those things are huge from an evidentiary standpoint. And so this reminds me a lot of, the BTK killer. Remember him, Ashley? It was his bragging. It was him mocking the police. It was him sending floppy disks to the police about the crimes that got him arrested. It was his enormous evidentiary value. These things, of this nature, tend to want the attention. They tend to want to be the smartest person in the chat room, so to speak. And in this instance, this could very well be another linchpin, in addition to the DNA, in addition to the cell towers, in addition to all the other things that the police currently have. This could also be one other thing. It could really carry the day.
And since you're always putting up football comments and stuff in chat, and I appreciate that because I do like seeing the football scores and stuff, I think Sunday afternoon I might do a sports show so we can go over live scores, talk about the games and stuff. I'm still kind of jogging my brain on how I'm going to do the whole presentation and stuff with that. But I think Sunday morning, afternoon, I might do like a sports show talking about the football games and all that stuff. So if you guys are interested in sports and stuff, look for Sunday late morning, early afternoon for a sports show.
I remember that moment where BTK said in court, just so matter-of-factly, every little detail as though...
Kel, I don't dare watch anything NFL unless it's like, I gotta be freaking careful as shit. I tried doing a sports show on Christmas Day, and that shit got shut down after an hour, and it was that's when I thought I got my second strike, but I know I didn't get a strike. I'm hoping the Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl, but you know how that always goes. That, you know, they make it to the playoffs and then they shit out. You know, that's how it always works. But we got Dallas and Tampa Bay coming up on the 19th. I'm still trying to think. I even thought, since my desk is mobile, I even thought about having like my big screen chilling behind my desk, so that way I can play the games on the TV behind me, so my background behind me is an actual game, and the image will be flipped reverse, I believe. So it should be all good to have like a background with a game going on, but I can't have anything on the channel itself, because when I tried it on Christmas, I had a camera pointed at one of my TVs showing one game. So it had a camera with me, then another camera with the game below me, and then we were watching highlights and stuff. So I'll figure out a way to make it happen. But I really want to do NBA as well. My favorite is NBA. I kind of want to do like when I do my sports stuff, I kind of want to get into some kind of fantasy sports stuff too, and we could all do the fantasy sports on the show too. Kind of like a fantasy sports show type thing. But that'll probably be I'll save the weekend, late morning, early afternoon shows for the sports, and then I'll keep the normal podcast stuff for, the nightly stuff for each night. Right, Cassie? Well, nobody gets prosecuted, right? And Brian is hated. Who did the Vikings play? I know Dallas plays Tampa Bay. I haven't checked the other ones yet.
We were all just little pieces in his game board, and it was just joy for him to just.
Hell, we could even do local sports. So if there's local clips, that you either want to take and send, or you get them off local news, or you get them off, whatever. We can even watch local sports too.
Hold us all in his grip for as long as it took him to spill out those vile details. I hope we don't have that.
I know, Cassie.
But in the same sense, I hope we do.
I wish Romo could have.
But that's your
Tony
bucket,
Romo.
Chris Mohandi. There was something else that Inside Looking wrote. I'm just going to read it out here. It says, "All I'm saying is that the killer is not a registered SO, which is sex offender. I would bet all my chips on that. Not an SO." Came up in so many other posts. It seemed like he's fixated on that. And of course, what happened later? The police said this isn't a sex crime.
Right. Well, again, it's possible, that a killer like this will, taunt in whatever methods available, whether it's Zodiac style, taunting that we saw using newspapers and so forth, or, some other forum like social media. It's also possible that, there's just other people out there that are arrogant and braggarts and so forth. But certainly narcissism is going to be a key feature of this kind of individual. And there was a certain pride that was in that statement of knowing with degree of certainty that would be consistent if indeed it's learned later on.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And
those always come up so quick. Sports. Yes, sports. Oh, you said clips with a P. What? Clips. Yeah, sports clips. All right. That was interesting. I mean, we all feel that that's probably him. Discuss his future. Let's see here. This is the one about that. Ooh, Mark Garagos on this Anna Walsh. And then I do want to check out the Inquisitor. Whoever turned me on to the Inquisitor channel, thank you. I appreciate that because I like using their videos too. Vikings play the Giants.
We bring in Mark Garagos, a trial lawyer who's represented Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, Scott Peterson. He is also the co-host of the Reasonable Doubt podcast. Mark, great to have you here. I'd love to get one answer on each one of these cases, if I may, from you. Let's go first to Moscow, Idaho. If you were representing Brian Kohberger, the evidence seems to be lining up against him. Do you see any holes in this case at this point?
Actually, I do. There's, the cell phone triangulation evidence. I think they're going to have a field day with. I don't think that that's as compelling as one might think. You can sit in a chair like I am right now, and the cell phone towers will, because of traffic, bounce back and forth. So that's not going to be a huge, I don't think, or compelling reason. Plus, you also have where this apparently was not operational or was not pinging on the top at the time that this happened. I think one of the things that we don't know yet that's going to be important is there was apparently a DoorDash delivery at 4 a.m. and the timeline shows that these brutal killings took place sometime between 4 and 4:30. Once we see what the DoorDash driver has to say, I think that'll go a long ways. And then obviously there's going to be some analysis of the DNA. We do not have, it has not been released yet, the one-on-one comparison of DNA. We have something that basically is not going to be admissible yet.
Interesting. I mean, we know that the police there have said that they are not looking for anyone else. They believe they have their man, and they have looked at a lot of these other avenues. Let's talk a little bit about Anna Walsh's husband, who in prior court documents was called a sociopath. We know he had financial issues. We also know from her friends now, Mark, that she was promising that things were going to change in the new year, and she had recently been selling a car and some of their assets.
Yeah, trying to get to Washington, D.C. Yeah, it does. It depends on the distance, but that's what they're pretty much saying. If they had the GPS, it's one thing, but with these cell phone towers, it's like Scott Reich said last night. He had a case and he asked him, can you guarantee that my client wasn't 30 blocks away from where the shooting took place? And he said, no, I can't. Right there. That tells you 20 miles. It could be up to 20 miles. And how big is Moscow? Is it 20 miles? Maybe.
What do you make of it?
He could have been shopping.
I will tell you that one of the most astonishing things about this case, to me at least, is somebody who's been in the criminal justice system for 40 years. He is apparently out on bail. In your setup piece, they talked about that. That diagnosis that he's a sociopath comes in connection with one of the letters that was written. He was also, I believe, on a monitor, and they can monitor his movements. So this idea that he's talking to them, telling him he's here, there, or everywhere, when in fact they have the monitor and they've got presumably they know where he was and when he was. I think they did the right thing, at least from a public safety standpoint, in filing on him so that they have yet another kind of fence, a geofence around him. I just think that if some of this DNA comes back, he's really got a tough time.
Yeah. Mark Garagos, thank you.
Well, yeah,
very much.
I mean, that dude, you got an ankle monitor, you got all sorts of stuff. I mean, $450 of cleaning supplies, your Google searches about how to get rid of a 115-pound body. Yeah, you're pretty much, And yeah, that's what we were saying earlier, Detective Juan, like with this, the reasons why the search for his apartment, it's sealed. You know what I mean? Who knows what's in there? On the computer, on the wall, who knows if there's a hit list on the wall? Who knows what is in that property? So, yeah, they may not be able to get him, because I'm sure they'll be able to go through I mean, hell, he just moved there. You know, when you just move into a new area, you're going to be using Google Maps all the time, getting from one location to the next and such. I'm just curious, not about the GPS stuff, because I mean, hell, he could put in an address 2 houses down if he was thinking ahead, you know. So then you're not at the property, but it's what's inside that is, because what they said is the reason that they're keeping it sealed, Detective Juan, is because for concerns for the witnesses, the victims, and the victims' families. So it kind of sounds like there's something heavy inside when they're coming out and saying even the victims' families is one of the reasons for their concern, is one of the reasons why they're sealing it. They need that Hyundai to come up with some DNA. Yeah, for sure. Like if they get that vehicle and DNA, yeah, lock it up and throw the key, right? Detective, if BK has Google location, that would be awesome. Google always gives you an update and tracks. Yes, it does. Go volunteer. Oh, nice. Pam, take care of yourself. Take breaks from true crime. If it starts to get to you, I've been feeling a break coming, but I don't want to miss. Oh, trust me, Kelt. It's going to be... We've been covering this stuff a lot, you know, with this gag order, and now the next, you know, the preliminary hearing isn't until June. I'm pretty much knocking out a decent amount of videos tonight, and I might even just go through them after the show just to kind of see if there's anything else, and then I might start with a brand new folder starting tomorrow. I do want to do more of this Anna Walsh. There's a couple other cases I want to talk about. What's up, Caroline? A couple other cases I want to get into. A couple other searches I want to do. You know, just some different things. We've talked a lot about this Idaho 4 stuff for so long. I mean, hell, I remember the times when it was a show where we talked about, you know, frickin' the weather. We talked about viruses. We talked about moon missions. We talked about all sorts of stuff, you know? Oh. Actually stored even when that's off. Going to doctor makes mine go up last time. Yikes. Detective, you'd be surprised how much it's still true. I'm sure. And plus all the other apps that you use, right? Even if it's not Google, just some of the other apps. You know, they even with your phone, like that has nothing to do with Google. It automatically comes with your phone. Those apps as well. I want to see that crazy ass husband fry. Ain't it crazy? Ain't it crazy? And then the dude was wearing an ankle monitor. It's like, bro. Just when we thought bringing your phone to the, you know, to the crime was like, hello, this guy. Freaking ankle monitor. At least they're being stupid. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I do want to play this one here. So this is the Inquisitor. I really enjoy this channel. Let me put the link up there in chat. So if you guys enjoy it, you can sub as well if you're not already. Snapchat tracks you too. Yeah, I think here's what's Google maintains all wireless can measure. Let's hope. Let's hope they have more than what they have, right? So our phones, even if we turn it off, the Inquisitor. Coffee. You're good, Kel. All right, let's see what the Inquisitor has about this Anna Walsh. I'm glad we're able to talk about it. I was wanting to talk about her last weekend. The timeline? Is that what this is? The timeline.
Is it game over for Brian Walsh? The evidence seems to be stacking up against him, and it may be only a matter of time until he's charged with murder. In the information from Brian Walsh's probable cause affidavit, it stated that on January 1st,
Good
3
evening,
days
Silky. How are you doing? I've been watching your videos. Good stuff.
before she was reported missing, that Anna...
Wait till you get to Gary Webb. It's just going to be like, holy shit. And then what happened to Gary Webb? Yeah. Very suspicious. How does someone self-inflict 2 times? That's all I'm saying.
Walsh told Brian in the morning she had a work emergency and got ready and kissed him goodbye and told him to go back to sleep. Anna Walsh usually took an Uber, Lyft, or taxi to the airport and left between 6 and 7 a.m. Brian Walsh further told police a babysitter arrived in the afternoon and he left home to get groceries at about 3 p.m. and then went to his mother's house in Swampscott, about an hour drive from Cohasset, but did not have his cell phone and got lost, making the trip longer than usual. He said he left his mother's home within about 15 minutes of arriving to run errands for her at Whole Foods and CVS and eventually returned home to Cohasset at about 8 p.m. According to information from the probable cause affidavit, prosecutor Lynn Billard, Anna Walsh's cell phone pinged in the area of their Cohasset.
Okay, it is, Silky. How can I say this? Okay. You know the crack epidemic in the 80s? There's so many connections, Silky. I mean, oh my gosh. You're talking CIA, you're talking the crack epidemic, you're talking Iran Contra, you're talking Oliver North, you're talking Nicaragua, you're talking the frickin' airport that took everything from the other countries into the United States to then get distributed out to the East and the West Coast. The airport was in Arkansas. I mean, and Silky, that's like 3 shows. But seriously, I'm serious. Just the reason, okay, there was an episode for the shows you're doing on. There's an episode on unsolved mysteries, okay, and it's with Robert Stack. It was the Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack, and I think it's one of the first few episodes of the show. It's in the beginning. Okay, sometime, whether it's the first couple seasons or the first couple episodes. And they talk about that, right? And how it was weird. But then Gary Webb, see, gosh, it's such a crazy story. Gary Webb pretty much, like, it was all under wraps. That's why people were, getting unalived in weird ways and shit. All connected to this operation, smuggling operation. And he got the information from somebody else. He followed up on it. He's the one that broke the case. He's the one that they basically tried to discredit, taint his character, all sorts of stuff. And then he was found, and it was labeled a suicide, but he had 2 bullets in his head in different directions. And I'm sure you know what I mean, because all those other cases you're looking at with the other people that were unalived in weird ways, it just kind of goes hand in hand. It's like, okay, it was classified as this, but it wasn't. But yes, it is totally, I'm telling you, I'm trying to think of the movie that was on Netflix, To Kill the Messenger, I think is what it is. It's got, you know, that guy that got ran over in that snowmobile accident or something, Jeremy Reiner or something. He plays Gary Webb in that movie. He plays Gary Webb in that movie, and I think it's called To Kill a Messenger. I think it's called To Kill a Messenger. I'm trying to look it up real quick because I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Yeah, here it is. Excuse me. This is the movie about what I'm talking about. He plays Gary Webb. This is the real picture of Gary Webb right here. He plays Gary Webb in this, and it's a movie, and I'm telling you, like, watch that first, right? Oh my gosh. Jeremy Renner or whatever. I just remember what he looked like, but yeah. The dude should have got an award for all the journalism that he did and all the crazy connections he exposed and uncovered. And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, hell, there's so many documentaries on just the Clintons alone about all the people that have passed along the way, connected and suspicious. I mean, it's just crazy. All right, let me get back to this video here real quick. This is a timeline.
The evidence seems to.
This is a timeline of the Anna Walsh disappearance.
He's stacking up against him, and it may be only a matter of time until he's charged with murder. In the information from Brian Walsh's probable cause affidavit, it stated that on January 1st, 3 days before she was reported missing, that Anna Walsh told Brian in the morning she had a work emergency and got ready and kissed him goodbye and told him to go back to sleep. Anna Walsh usually took an Uber, Lyft, or taxi to the airport and left between 6 and 7 a.m. Brian Walsh further told police a babysitter arrived in the afternoon and he left home to get groceries at about 3 p.m. and then went to his mother's house in Swampscott, about an hour drive from Cohasset, but did not have his cell phone and got lost, making the trip longer than usual. He said he left his mother's home within about 15 minutes of arriving to run errands for her at Whole Foods and CVS and eventually returned home to Cohasset at about 8 p.m. According to information from the probable cause affidavit, prosecutor Lynn Billard, Anna Walsh's cell phone pinged in the area of their Cohasset home on January 1st and 2nd. Brian Walsh told investigators he took one of his children for ice cream at a juice bar in Norwell on January 2nd while the babysitter watched his 2 other kids, the affidavit states. Investigators confirmed this trip occurred on January 2nd. According to a surveillance video, Brian Walsh traveled to a Home Depot in Rockland wearing a surgical mask and gloves and made a cash purchase. There, Walsh bought $450 cleaning supplies, including mop bucket, various types of tape. On January 4th, Anna Walsh's workplace, the real estate company Tishman Speyer called police to report she did not show up for her job, prosecutor Belland said. According to Brian Walsh's defense attorney, he called her workplace to ask if they knew of her whereabouts prior to the workplace's call to police. Cohasset police arrived to Anna Walsh's home for a well-being check, according to the affidavit. Brian Walsh spoke with investigators multiple times and provided the above timeline for his actions and whereabouts on January 1st and 2nd. On January 5th, Cohasset police announced Anna Walsh was missing and asked the public to come forward with any information. Police said she was last seen shortly after midnight on New Year's Day. On January 6th, Cohasset police launched a massive search for Anna Walsh that included K-9 officers and search and rescue teams in the wooded areas near her home. On January 7th, the probable cause affidavit stated at least 6 investigators were tasked with driving to the North Shore area of Massachusetts and watched surveillance video to try to verify Walsh's timeline of events. They did not observe him on video at the Whole Foods or CVS in Swampscott on January 1st as he had stated. Cohasset Police and Massachusetts State Police announced the search for Anna Walsh has concluded. On January 8th, Brian Walsh was arrested and charged with misleading a police investigation. On January 9th, Brian Walsh was arraigned in court and pleaded not guilty to a charge of misleading police. Belland, the prosecutor, said investigators had found no evidence of Anna Walsh taking a rideshare from their house on January 1st. She said his statements to police caused a delay in the investigation. The prosecutor also said investigators obtained a search warrant for their home and found blood and a bloody knife in the basement. The judge set bail at $500,000 cash and set the next hearing for February 9th. Prosecutors released the affidavit in support of a criminal complaint that lays out authorities' timeline of the prior week. The affidavit describes Brian Walsh's statements to police as a clear attempt to mislead and delay investigators. In 2018, Brian Walsh was indicted on federal fraud charges for allegedly selling fake Andy Warhol artwork online, according to court documents. FBI investigators alleged Brian or Anna Walsh used her eBay account to sell the paintings in November 2016, less than a year after they were married. In a strange coincidence around the time Anna Walsh went missing, her old home she left months prior caught on fire. The fire chief said it's too early to say if the fire is connected to her disappearance. A couple who rented an apartment from the Walshes who spoke to the Walshes regularly said they noticed changes in their behavior in the months before Anna vanished and that the couple were selling off assets.
Now at 5, we're hearing from a couple who spoke with Anna and Brian Walsh often and noticed changes in their behavior in the months before Anna vanished. The couple are tenants who rented an apartment from the Walshes. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm David Wade. The couple traded texts with Brian Walsh after Anna disappeared. WBG's Beth Tremano is live for us in Cohasset tonight. Beth, they say one of the conversations they had was really heated.
And they say it was out of character and that the Walshes actually reneged on a promise that they could buy the rental unit. And now with the investigation unfolding here in Cohasset and beyond, they say their involvement with the Walshes now seems unreal.
I've done all the work here, wash and dryer for him.
Mike Silva says Brian Walsh and his wife Anna were more than landlords, but trusted friends.
Brian was very professional. He had me thinking he was an investor. He was always looking at the stock market.
A contractor, Mike poured thousands of his own money into this unit in Revere. He and his fiancée Mandy had been promised by the Walshes they could buy. But it all changed with a heated conversation December 29th, when the couple realized the unit had been sold for cash to other buyers. And they said Anna's demeanor changed.
It was out of character for the way that Anna was acting. She was being very protective. She was, targeting us personally and saying like she should have done a background check on She should have checked our credit.
Mike Silva says the Walshes owned a number of properties he helped with, like this one in Lynn, but was told they were recently selling off assets, which he thought was strange.
I'm totally shocked. I'm like, things that didn't add up was just starting to add up.
He had texted the couple wishing them a happy new year, and finally got this answer from Brian in a text 2 days later on January 2nd.
Saying Happy New Year. Sorry for the delay. I misplaced my phone and my son just found it.
No mention of Anna, who was reported missing the next day. The couple says they had felt betrayed by the Walshes. And now with Brian facing charges of misleading the investigation, and evidence uncovered at their home and in a landfill, they're not sure what to think.
I can't take that argument back with Anna. So I feel guilty that I stuck up for me and my family only for this woman to go missing.
Wow, all sorts of stuff going on.
Live, but now the future seems uncertain. And coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll talk with a former federal prosecutor who says more charges could be forthcoming in this case, even if Anna Walsh isn't found. Reporting live from Cohasset, I'm Beth Germano, WBZ News.
Thank you.
Brian Walsh was also accused in court documents during a 2019 battle over his late father's estate of being a sociopath and physically violent by a family friend. The documents state Brian Walsh became estranged from his late father Thomas after he allegedly absconded with almost $1 million in a real estate scam. It's unclear to what the motive was if Brian has killed his wife Anna, but it's speculated Anna was going to leave him and he may not have wanted to continue to oblige to help her and her children financially. Brian Walsh also made an appointment at an auto wash and car detailing business earlier on in the week, but never showed.
Missing mom. Investigators finding evidence today at a trash station near Boston. Anna Walsh has been missing since New Year's Day. Her husband, Brian, has since been arrested for misleading investigators. Prosecutors saying he failed to tell police he went to a hardware store the day his wife disappeared, purchased more than $400 worth of cleaning supplies. News Nation's Evan Lambert is live outside the couple's Massachusetts home. So, Evan, what else have we learned today?
Nicole, the DA's office telling us tonight.
He's just acting so weird when he's in that courtroom. It's just really weird. No, I don't even know how to describe it.
That they are done searching and processing the couple's home. Here behind me, we can see that because police are no longer here. But the question remains, where is Anna Walsh? We're hearing for the first time from missing Massachusetts mom Anna Walsh in her own words. In a 2021 letter to the judge in her husband Brian's federal art fraud case, Walsh gushed over Brian, saying, quote, "I am writing this letter to you to express my gratitude for having allowed Brian to spend the last 8 months at home supporting his children and closest family members."
That's so sad.
She went on, quote, "Brian has been working consistently on breaking the past habits of his family, and we are all looking forward to the new chapter of his life. But now, the 47-year-old husband and father of 3 is charged with lying to police during the course of the investigation into his wife's disappearance on January 1st. Investigators revealing they found possible evidence at a trash transfer station north of Boston near Walsh's mother's home and evidence inside the couple's basement.
Crime scene services recovered and found blood in the basement area, in a section of the basement. There was also a knife that was found. On the knife, there was also blood, and part of the knife was damaged.
A source also telling News Nation Tuesday, a man by the name of Brian Walsh, but with a different spelling, made an appointment last week at this car detailing place near his Cohasset home, but never showed.
I wish I had my own place.
Brian Walsh, I hope all is going well. I was just reaching out to basically everybody I could. Anna hasn't been in touch for a few days.
And we're also hearing from Brian. The podcast, The Case, first publishing a voicemail purportedly from Brian to a friend on Wednesday, the day Anna's work reported her missing.
If you know anyone that might have had contact with her, just calling everyone. So sorry to bother you. Sure, everything's fine.
Brian remains in jail, held on $500,000 bond. Officials say the couple's 3 young children are in state custody. And as investigators wait to test the evidence, they say there are no imminent plans to change the charges against Brian Walsh.
Well, that was the timeline. Damn, I would love to have my own detail business. I'd just be doing classic cars or something. Just shows, car shows, those kind of cars, you know? I'd be so sweet one day. Have my own garage. Just detail shit all day. Let's see here. So thank you, The Inquisitor. I like that channel. I do want to switch to a video real quick. This is about Lisa Marie, since she just passed. I do want to play this real quick here. Just for everybody else that's in the chat. I know you guys mentioned it, and I appreciate you letting me know if I don't notice the break and you guys do. So I'll go ahead and play this just to see what they have. CNN, Anderson Cooper.
News to report Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter and only child of Elvis and Priscilla Presley, once married to Michael Jackson, then Nicolas Cage, has died. She was just 54 years old.
Yeah, that's true, Kip, Kitty, and Pam.
CNN entertainment reporter Chloe Melas joins us now with what we are learning. Chloe, what do we know?
Anderson, just moments ago, a representative for Priscilla Presley and the Presley family released this statement to CNN saying Priscilla Presley and the Presley family are shocked and devastated by the tragic death of their beloved Lisa Marie. They are profoundly grateful for the support, love, and prayers of everyone and ask for privacy during this very difficult time. Anderson, like you said earlier this morning, CNN confirmed that EMTs responded to Lisa Marie's residence in Calabasas, California, and that it was a possible cardiac arrest. Just a few hours ago, Priscilla Presley taking to Instagram, asking for prayers, thanking everyone for the outpouring of support, with tons of comments being flooded by fans in just a matter of minutes, and celebrities. I was at the Golden Globes earlier this week in LA. I saw Priscilla, I saw Lisa Marie. She definitely did not look like her usual glowing self.
Thank you, Trey.
I didn't have a chance to speak to her.
Hope you have a good night and enjoy the movie.
It was a really big night because Austin Butler, who portrayed her father in Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, he won a Golden Globe, and it was a very touching moment. I mean, even the audiences, the viewers at home saw her as she was staring at Austin as he gave this moving speech next to her mother, and we knew, just how close Priscilla and Lisa Marie were. And it's been a really rough couple of years, Anderson, because Lisa Marie lost her son to suicide in 2020, and she opened up about that loss in a very emotional essay this past summer about dealing with grief and how hard it's been for her since the loss of her son, Benjamin. But, our thoughts go out to Priscilla, the entire family, and to Lisa Marie's children for what can be such an unimaginably difficult night for them.
Yeah, Chloe, appreciate that. Joining us now by phone is CNN Stephanie Elam, who was recently with Lisa Marie Presley, also at the Golden Globes, and Nichelle Turner, host of Entertainment Tonight, who interviewed Lisa Marie Presley at the Golden Globes. Nichelle, how did she seem to you? What did you talk about?
Anderson, I just heard Chloe say that she did not seem like her glowing self. She was subdued. We did notice that when speaking to her at the Golden Globes, but she was very happy to be there supporting the film, supporting the Elvis film, also supporting Austin Butler. She was a big fan of his portrayal of her father, so she was happy to be there with him. Her mother was there as well, and they did sit together, but again, she did seem a bit subdued. She did not seem, as I've interviewed her in the past, she didn't seem like that same person, more bubbly, more outgoing, but she was telling us that she was very happy to be there that night.
Subdued? What is that?
A couple days after her father's birthday.
So she was sick?
She reflected on that, having it be such a special night to celebrate her father that night and just have celebrated his birthday a couple days before.
Yeah, Stephanie Elam is also with us. Stephanie, you were at the Golden Globes as well.
Yes, Anderson, I was on the carpet and I did see Lisa Marie walk just right in front of us. And I have to agree with Chloe and with Nichelle. She looked sallow. She seemed sort of curled into herself a little bit. She was walking several feet in front of her mother. And it just seemed like she was moving a little differently than what I've seen previously when I've seen Lisa Marie out. I would agree that she seems very happy to be there and supporting this movie about her father. And you could see when Austin Butler won the award and he saved the Presley family, she looked like she had tears in her eyes. She was very emotional about it. But definitely the way she was going down the carpet was very reserved, and she did not seem like she felt well. And I actually thought that at the time and had a quick conversation about it. It just, there was something about the way she was moving that just did not look like she was at 100%. And then also just the distance between her and her mom as they're making their way down the carpet. It almost looked like that she was just trying to get through the carpet and be done. You know, there's sometimes you see celebrities, they want to stop and talk, and other times they're just trying to get through it. That's the energy she was giving as she was making her way down the carpet, Anderson.
And Nichelle, I mean, you have probably seen her at many events, talked to her before. She herself had her own music career. She had, I think, 3 records that she put out. She was the only child of Elvis Presley. She was the executor of the Presley estate, as far as I understand. There was certainly a lot of, I mean, this is somebody who was born into this very famous family and lived a life in the public eye in a for better or for worse over the course of her whole life.
Absolutely. I mean, she was the apple of her father's eye in so many ways. We saw that. But you're right. I mean, she did kind of live out her life in an eccentric way in front of us, married to Michael Jackson, before married to Nicolas Cage. And, you know, she does have a daughter as well, Riley. Her son did commit suicide. We heard, or had death by suicide, you know, a couple of years ago. So she was dealing with grief. This family knows about grief and knows about what it is to live that out publicly. She did love music. She did love, you know, she loved her father. She was behind this film 100%. She was behind the portrayal of her father 100%. She was actually on our platform with Austin Butler on Golden Globes night, and they both spoke so lovingly about how they all stuck together through this process of making this film, and how they all leaned on each other and relied on each other and cared so much about each other. He continues to speak about the fact that he couldn't have gotten through it without the support of Lisa Marie and her mother Priscilla, you know, in portraying their father. But just like Chloe and Stephanie were both saying, Anderson, she did not seem at 100% strength that night, Sunday night. And we also had a conversation about it, that she just didn't seem herself.
And Nichelle, it's certainly a big burden for an only child like her with the Presley estate to be the person responsible for continuing the legacy of, you know, the remarkable legacy of Elvis Presley. And I think this film was so important to her because it is really introducing Elvis Presley to whole new generations of people around the world who may not, you know, who didn't grow up with him, who weren't alive even when he was alive. And so the weight of that, the responsibility of that, it's probably why she wanted to be there, even if she wasn't feeling particularly great at the Golden Globes.
Absolutely. And she was determined to continue to celebrate her father's legacy and to, like you said, introduce him to more audiences. And it's interesting. I just had a...
Wow, that's sad. Yeah, Kelt, I'm on a little bit of low energy. I haven't got good sleep that much this week. And then the overtime and then rush. But we got the weekend coming up. Tomorrow's Friday, so that's cool. Let me see here. Forensic psychiatrist analyzes. So I was like, man, that behavior's odd. So I'm glad that there's a video on here about a psychiatrist analyzing his behavior. I'd definitely like to hear what's said here. And thank you all for being here. Yeah, if you like sports, check out Sunday afternoon. I'm going to be doing a NFL playoff and all sorts of whatever sports. It's going to be a sports show. I'm already putting it in my head. Sunday morning / afternoon.
Search for a missing Massachusetts mom continues this morning, and personality traits about her husband are now being revealed.
Anna Walsh has not been seen
what happened?
since New Year's Day. Right now, her husband
Brian is behind bars, charged with misleading police about
Yeah.
his whereabouts around the time that his wife.
Yeah, it was interesting what she was saying. And she was like, yeah, you could tell she seemed subdued. I'm like, what? Just reserved. Who knows? Maybe she wasn't feeling good.
Vanished. News Nation
I
has
mean,
obtained that
maybe it was, who knows? It's going to be, what a sad story. Gosh, so young.
surveillance video from inside a juice bar. It shows the 47-year-old on January 2nd. That was just the day after he told investigators his wife left for her job in D.C. It's one of the only places he told investigators he went. That was true.
He keeps walking
And maybe
around
it wouldn't be
pacing.
suspicious if his wife had been seen
Oh, no,
since
they're just
January
putting it on a
1st.
loop.
Now people who've crossed paths with Walsh in the past are calling him everything from a con artist to a sociopath,
It's
a
just on a loop.
narcissist, and a violent person. Dr. Daniel Bober is a board-certified psychiatrist and a former mental health policy fellow in the U.S. Senate. You know, Dr. Bober, I have to tell you how appalling it is just to think about the kind of obvious evidence in this case. And it's just so clear. Investigators say Anna Walsh's husband, Brian, looked up how to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body online. Isn't that by itself completely incriminating?
Yeah.
Well, it certainly shows consciousness of guilt and attempts to conceal the crime. And you know you're pretty bad when your own father refers to you as a sociopath. So multiple people seem to think that he's a very deceptive, aggressive person. So it certainly doesn't bode well for him
Your own
in the criminal
father?
justice system.
I want to talk a little bit more about the sociopath and the connection to his dad in a second, but there was the hacksaw and the blood found in a dumpster near her mother's
my
home, I
gosh.
believe. The bloody knife found in his basement. I know he's innocent until proven guilty, and not to be too graphic, but law enforcement would know if this is human blood by now. We just have to wait. How long could we find out?
And it looks like regular civilian clothes. I'm confused. Is that the jailhouse garb in that location or something? Because to me, it looks like a regular sweater from Walmart or something and a pair of khakis. But I could be wrong.
If this was evidence that Anna was killed.
Oh, I think they probably already
Definitely.
know. I mean, this guy did everything but leave a trail of breadcrumbs to
Right?
the police station. So there's just so
Right?
much here. It's a very strong case for the prosecution.
Brian Walsh, convicted of selling fake Andy Warhol paintings. And in that case, he was going to get a no jail deal, and a judge found out he'd embezzled from his dead father's estate after being written out of the will. Again, you mentioned the sociopath claims. He was on house arrest. He was wearing an ankle bracelet, waiting to be sentenced, and he lied to police. So I looked up the term sociopath just to make sure that I understood exactly what was being said about him. It describes it as being highly antisocial and not having a conscience. But what else does all of this suggest about his behavior?
Huh.
It suggests to me that this is probably something that he planned out. You know, that this is something that he had in his mind probably for a great deal of time. It wasn't something that he probably did impulsively, although we know sociopaths are impulsive. The fact that he left the house, even with an ankle monitor on, early reports suggested that it was GPS tracked, but I had heard that it was not. So he may have only had to account for the fact that he was out of the house.
Wow,
So he
I heard it
probably
was
so
GPS
desperate
tracked, but it's
to get
not?
rid of the evidence that he was willing to take the risk
Oh, shoot.
that he may be home late and that authorities may know that he was violating his curfew.
So, in terms of their marriage, I have to ask you if you know or have heard of anything. There were reports.
Wow, I had heard that that ankle monitor was GPS tracked and everything. Like they could. He says it's not.
She made more money than him, and he was.
Oh boy.
Does that somehow
But there's
align
still so
with
much
some
other
of the
evidence.
details in this case?
Come on, you got a frickin' all that, all the evidence, and then the rug. They found, you know, the rug now. I mean,
It may, you know, we don't know what his motivations are, but he probably found himself in a precarious situation and he needed to get himself out of it. And he was going to do that any way he could. And sociopaths are known for having a weak or an absent conscience. So they clearly had no qualms about doing something to, you know, extricate himself from the situation.
It's horrific. And there are 3 children, ages 2, 4, and 6, in the middle of all this. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.
wow. My ankle is more. That's crazy. Man. Man, I had heard from multiple sources that this thing was GPS tracked. So I'm wondering if I don't know. I'm just curious about that. He's the first person I heard say that it's not. You would think that they are. I heard from multiple sources that they are. This guy says they're not. Maybe they're not. It is a small town. But you would think in 2022, 2023 that they would be GPS tracked automatically. Let's see if there's any other things here. We watched that. Heading into court Friday. Hear what family friends say about missing the husband. Ooh, cool. We get to hear some of what the family says.
It has now been 12 days since she disappeared, and there is still no sign of the Massachusetts mother of three, Anna Walsh.
What's
As the
up,
search is
Cassie?
intensifying for her, investigators are turning their focus to her husband's past. Court documents show that Brian Walsh was described as a sociopath and untrustworthy during a 2019 legal dispute over his father's estate. CNN's Jason Carroll is live in Massachusetts this morning for CNN This Morning. Jason, I know that they are basically going through essentially every part of his
Now that's a frickin' scarf, right?
past with a fine-tooth comb. He's pleaded not guilty to a charge of misleading investigators about his whereabouts around the time she disappeared. What are they looking at right now, and where actually is he right now?
Well, right now he is in custody, state custody, where he will remain until we get more information about how that investigation is proceeding. You were talking about those court documents. Really, after combing through a number of those court documents, Caitlin, there were a number of red flags there that we saw where basically Brian Walsh was accused back in 2019 of stealing money from his father and being prone to violence.
Wow.
As investigators are now in the process of testing items that could be connected to
Oh
the
my
disappearance of
gosh.
Anna Walsh, a clearer picture is emerging of her husband Brian and his troubled financial past. Court documents show
Poor
he was
thing.
involved in a bitter legal battle over his father Thomas Walsh's estate. Friends as well as Walsh's nephew alleging in signed affidavits the elder Walsh and his son had been estranged for years after Brian Walsh absconded with almost $1 million from Dr. Thomas Walsh. Court records also say because of the alleged theft, it required Dr. Thomas Walsh to continue working past the age at which he had wished to retire, as a significant amount of his savings were stolen and never returned. And that's part of the reason why these court documents say Walsh's father cut his only son out of his will in the years before.
So what does it sound like? Entitled that wasn't about making money on his own. He was about getting it the easy way, whatever way he could. Just basically entitled from the beginning. Is anyone else's voice detection not taking up the last word you said? Not picking up? I'm not using voice to text.
Or his death in 2018. Despite that, Walsh took steps to take control of his father's estate while saying in a sworn affidavit he and his father had been estranged several times over the years, but says they mended their relationship. Ultimately, Walsh's legal efforts were unsuccessful. A judge ruled against him. But those same documents revealed more information about Walsh's past, including that at some point he had checked himself into a mental health facility. His father's friends calling him a sociopath.
Probably, supporting his fake ass lifestyle about whatever he was trying to portray, Who says he didn't?
Court documents dated in 2019 saying Brian is not only a sociopath, but also a very angry and physically violent person.
Physically
I
violent.
want nothing to do with him.
Wow.
These allegations surfaced years before Walsh pleaded
Wow.
guilty to federal charges of selling fake Andy Warhol paintings, the victim of the fake sales saying Walsh was very convincing.
He was very calculated, almost genius about how he went about things.
That troubled past only increasing the scrutiny around the disappearance of his wife. A bloody knife found inside the family home, law enforcement sources telling CNN a hacksaw, and cloth materials with apparent bloodstains found in a nearby trash facility. The couple's friends say nothing seemed out of the ordinary during a New Year's Eve celebration, but now coming to terms with what could be the outcome they had feared.
I keep praying that in all these trash facilities, that she's not found there, and really so that, you know, we do have somewhere to go to honor her, and for her children to have somewhere to go to honor her.
If someone did do something to Anna Walsh, in Massachusetts, the law does not necessarily require prosecutors to show a motive for a crime.
Prosecutors like to be able to show a motive. Again, I think it makes more sense to people if there is a motive, but as a matter of law, it's not required to prove a motive in most cases.
And Kaylin, obviously there is a great deal of concern for Anna Walsh's 3 children. Right now, they are in the custody of the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families. Meanwhile, the park where I'm standing right now, this will be the scene of a candlelight vigil for Anna Walsh. That will be later this afternoon. Kaylin.
Yeah, we're thinking of her friends and family. Jason Carroll, thank you so much.
Gosh. It just sounds like he was manipulating and scheming on everybody he came in contact with. Man. And then what? It just became too much for you, bro? That's so sad. Just let her move to fucking Washington, you know? You're the one that did the shit in the first place. That's why you're in trouble. She didn't let her move to fucking Washington. God damn. Caught dumping trash near Whole Foods in another town. So he got caught dumping trash near Whole Foods in another town. All right, new video shows. Let's see. Ooh, I'd like to hear this. Ex-FBI official identified his most important piece of evidence. I want to hear what... It's probably the... and I'm going to go to that Delphi video next. This is probably the DNA. I want to see what he says about it. If it is about the DNA for sure.
The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students is back in court this morning. Brian Koberger faces 4 counts of first-degree murder. He has yet to enter a plea. This is his second appearance in court since being extradited. You'll remember from Pennsylvania.
I remember when we watched that live.
Jean Casares has been watching this. She's joining me right now. Thanks for being here, Jean. What has happened in court?
Very important. We have just learned a date of June 26th is going to be the probable cause hearing. This is a very important hearing because this is where the prosecutor has to put on evidence to show exactly what they have. And then if they have enough, the case will be bound over for trial. But
what do you guys think of the prosecutor so far? I'm kind of nervous. He's not going to be prepared. Or something wacky's going to go in the trial, and it's because he's, I don't know. I got a uneasy feeling about, yeah. I don't know. I'm just nervous about that.
defense can cross-examine. We may learn more. At this point, we just have the affidavit. And yesterday, I was speaking to a former FBI attorney, 20 years he was with the FBI. He was the co-founder of the Forensic Genetic Genealogy Division of the FBI. And I asked him, isn't there more than what's in this probable cause affidavit? I specifically asked him about DNA at the scene.
Very well could be. I don't know. It didn't indicate whether or not.
I feel like we watched
gloves.
this
It
one
leads me to
already.
believe that if they found DNA on the button off the knife sheath that he was not wearing gloves. So in that case, very, very likely that he perhaps touched, the door to get in and out of the residence, the door to the other rooms.
Things like you can expect at that probable cause hearing. One more thing today, no bond for the defendant. He will remain in custody.
I feel if he did anything correctly, it was probably the maneuvering inside the property. If you got one shoe print and that's what you're releasing, to me, it sounds like if he did do one thing right, it was maneuvering inside the property without leaving evidence behind besides the sheath, which was not planned. But I believe he probably had it planned out how he was going to navigate hand-wise through doors, not leave, all that he could have, a piece of an eyebrow could have fell out. I don't know. But I feel like that was one thing he probably did right, was maneuvering inside the property. I know, Cassie. Always. I mean, seriously. Why do we have to wait till June?
He will remain behind bars. Okay, Gene, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I mean, I get it. Trust me, if the prosecution was wanting July, he's like, sorry, we didn't even have time. We weren't prepared. We didn't have time to talk to her. It's like, dude, she's been his frickin' representative for a week now, and you ain't had time to talk to her? Get on your shit, prosecutor. Come on.
Joining me now is CNN senior law enforcement analyst Andrew McCabe. He's, of course, the former deputy director of the FBI. Andy, this is one of those appearances in court where Gene sums it up perfectly. He came in, they set a date, and they went along. There's a lot to happen now between now and that probable cause hearing. I want to walk through a little bit of what we do know so
Caroline.
far, which is in that affidavit. The most notable pieces of evidence that we have from the probable cause affidavit, Andy, one of the things is phone records indicating that Kohberger's phone was near the murder victim's residence at least 12 times between June of 2022 to around the time of the arrest. How is that helpful?
Well, it's a fascinating fact for us, Kate, because this is really the only thing in the affidavit that even hints at a connection before the homicide between Kohberger and these victims. We still don't have any sense of what his motivation might have been, how he became focused on this house and or these people. But the fact that he was in the area, his phone puts him in the area of the house on 12 occasions prior to the homicide, is a pretty strong confirmation that long before the murders, he was already focused on this residence, and like I said before, and or focused on the occupants of that house. So it's our first effort to build out what might have been happening in the lead up to the homicide.
But then there is that knife sheath. I've been curious to ask you, I don't know if you find it more important, less important than the phone records. This knife sheath that was found at the scene laying on the bed next to one of the victims. And investigators say that DNA testing linked the sheath to DNA found in the trash at Kohberger's parents' home, so essentially linking the sheath to Brian Kohberger himself. That seems pretty important.
It is absolutely critical. It's by far the most important piece of evidence in this case so far. Even with, assume you had all the phone records you have, puts him in the area, shows him moving back and forth, likely between his residence and the homicide scene on the night of the murders. None of that actually puts him in the house. The DNA puts him not just in the house, but literally in the bed where two victims were found. So it's absolutely the most critical piece of evidence. It's possible that DNA got placed on the button of the knife sheath before the homicide, maybe as he was picking up his things and preparing to go that night before he had put his gloves on. So again, it gives you a piece of DNA that you might not have otherwise collected from the crime scene if he was smart enough to wear gloves during the commission of the crime. So, and then of course, it's the familial DNA recovered from the garbage in the Pennsylvania area right? by the parents' house that actually gives us a pretty good identification that the DNA belongs, in fact, to Kohberger.
Where or what do you think at the moment, there's so much to learn, of course, but is the most kind of biggest outstanding question that the defense could exploit to push back on some of this evidence that we've just laid out?
You know, what we know so far, which I'm sure is far less than what the investigators know, it already presents a pretty damning case. The first hurdle, as we've just been talking about, is always putting the defendant at the scene of the crime. The DNA clearly does that. You have all that other supporting information about the vehicle on surveillance, the movement of his cell phone in the period before the homicide, and then, of course, the absence of his cell phone pinging the towers during the homicide. But then he shows up the next morning before the crime is even reported to the police. All that stuff is I think, very persuasive. It's likely that the investigators have collected additional evidence after the arrest because they've executed search warrants at his residence, his parents' residence, and also in his car. I think the thing that we're looking for now is whether any of those search warrants, maybe on electronic devices or email accounts, conclusively show us how and why he began targeting those poor people.
So much to learn.
You would think. You know what I mean? You got the car, you got the search of the parents' house, and you got the search of the apartment. You would think with one of those, you're going to find something, right?
Really appreciate it. Now we have a probable cause hearing that they have set the date for. Really appreciate it, and good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah. You got to hope. Especially how and why, you know? How and why. Okay, I'm going to play this one real quick. It's just a 1:37 clip. And it's about requesting the trial to be moved. Ooh, I'm excited for this. We've been waiting a long time for this, huh, Kelt? I actually moved here right after it was about a year after everything happened. I moved here, and then I came across it through the local news one time. They were doing a special on it, and I was like, what the fuck? And that's when it's been quite a while. Been a long one, like Chris Watts. It's about the same amount of time, actually, because that's when I was getting into this. I was getting into the Chris Watts stuff too. Pretty interesting.
Tomorrow's hearing is expected to last about an hour. Both the prosecutor and the defense have asked the judge to answer key questions. Richard Allen and his attorneys will be in court asking the judge to move the case out of Carroll County. They want to change the venue because of all the attention that followed the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German back in 2017. They argue that attention about the crime and the intense media coverage following Allen's arrest a few months ago will make it nearly impossible to seat an impartial jury. They want the case moved at least 150 miles away, and if the judge agrees, it would mean the trial.
See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And basically, this right here is where it's probably going. Because that's probably good. There's other locations. There's one here, and I believe there's one right here. But I believe this location right here is where it's going to take place if it gets moved outside that circle, because that's the biggest city in those available zones. And it's the one that's most equipped. And believe it or not, there are people in that area that don't even know about fucking Delphi, which is crazy.
Trial would have to be moved to far southern Indiana. The judge will also be deciding whether to keep a gag order in place. The attorneys, the defendant, the victim's families, law enforcement, the attorneys, the defendant are southern Indiana.
Right there, that's where I was talking about, Evansville.
The judge will also be deciding whether to keep a gag order in place. The attorneys, the defendant, the victim's families, law enforcement.
And if you remember Jeffersonville, right here. If you ever watched the show, what was that show called? Live PD or whatever with Dan Abrams. What was that show called? I can't remember what it was called. It was a good show, but they featured Jeffersonville a lot on that live PD show with Dan Abrams. I can't remember what it's called now.
The judge will also be deciding whether to keep a gag order in place. The attorneys, the defendant, the victim's families, law enforcement, just about anyone involved in the case in any way is currently banned from discussing the case publicly outside of court. The prosecutor has asked the judge to make that gag order permanent. It's not clear if Judge Gall will issue orders on those two issues tomorrow or whether she'll decide on them later. But we do know, after she hears arguments from both sides, the judge will have a private meeting with the attorneys and Richard Allen. That's to discuss funding for experts that will be hired to provide opinions and possibly testimony in the murder case. Whether to set bond for Richard Allen, giving him the possibility of being released from prison while he awaits trial, that issue will not be heard until February. We will be in Delphi tomorrow with live reports starting on 13 News Sunrise. In the newsroom, I'm Bob Siegel, 13 News.
Oh, I didn't stop it in time. Shit. No, but
tomorrow's hearing is expected to last about an hour. Both the prosecutor and the defense have asked the judge to answer key questions. Richard Allen and his...
Oh my gosh. And then it brought me to the top. All right. I suppose that's a sign. That's probably, yeah, I'll just take that as a sign. I'm already past a little bit anyway. I don't know. I might do some gaming tonight on Twitch. But no, there's no way I could ever be on the jury. But I'll tell you what, though, I'd be taking my phone down to the courthouse and I'd be doing some streams on location. You better fucking believe it. Where in the hell? Trying to find it. Damn. There it is. Yeah, so if you're not I don't know what I'm gonna play actually. I don't even know if I'm gonna play anything yet. It just depends when I hop off. I'm gonna eat something here, get some food in my belly. But I think I knocked out a good amount of videos tonight. I'm sorry I didn't get you your links. As soon as I get these videos, I'm thinking we're pretty much done, actually, because I'm gonna go through some of them outside of the show just to kind of double check, maybe write down if there's a couple but I think I'm gonna make a new folder. Then I'm also gonna make a sports folder as well, because I think I'm gonna start doing the late morning, early afternoon shows that I do. I think it'll be more sports, but I'm thinking like Sunday late morning, early afternoon is almost a guarantee, just because we got football and I know they got games on Saturday too, but Saturday, I don't know. I don't want to commit to a Saturday right now just because, you know, sometimes there's other stuff I got to do, like running around errands and stuff around home and stuff like that. But Sundays, I'm definitely chilling. Sundays are a chill day, so I can pretty much guarantee that I'll be on a late morning, early afternoon for that. So yeah, I think we got through a lot of stuff. I don't think there's anything else to really go through. I mean, we pretty much know everything that all these other videos are telling us now, you know, unless anything crazy. I think I'm just going to keep that folder. If we need to go back to it, we can go back to it. But I think I'm going to start a new folder tomorrow, go through this old stuff, see if there is anything I do need to transfer. And then I'll be getting into your, into all your links the last couple of days. I'll be getting into those too, because I know there's a bunch. Yeah, I mean it's Saturday nights are good for the shows. But Sunday's usually my chilling day where I'm just hanging around, so. And plus, March Madness. Yeah. Yeah. I just, see, this is what I need to figure out and what I need to research. What sports stuff I'm allowed to play on YouTube without getting in trouble? How often do you have to pause it? What the general rules are? I don't know. I would love to be able to do sports. It's just it gets real tricky with copyright stuff, you know. But man, that'd be so much fun. Is there like a March Madness? Like, can we go on like Yahoo or something and sign up for a March Madness bracket? We can all put our entries in there and see how we all do against each other, and we have our own little March Madness bracket. That'd be cool. Did anyone else here follow this? Yes, I know, Cassie. Alex Erickson's a really good one about Summer Wells. I do have a special place right here, you know? And when I hear certain shit, it's like, nah. I swore off tried crime. Yeah. It's a sad, yeah. Never. And then, you know, I don't want to say. I'm going to do the zip again. I'm going to do the zip again when it comes to the parents. Yeah, so sad. Yeah, so if you guys have any sports, go ahead and send me the links and stuff, because I'm going to definitely have a show Sunday, late morning, early afternoon for sports. We're going to talk football. We'll talk basketball. We got the All-Star game coming up, the NBA trade deadline coming up. We got teams that are gearing for a playoff spot that haven't been in the playoffs for a while. I mean, there's a lot of sports stuff to talk about. We got NASCAR coming out soon. You know, we got possible Derek Carr. They're either going to release him or trade him because they're trying to get Tom Brady. We got Sean Payton, the old coach of the Saints, waiting for the Chargers or Cowboys job to open up before he takes any of these other ones on, because the Titans are coming after him too. There's a lot of sports stuff to talk about. A lot. And you know what, Cassie? I was thinking, I don't know much about NASCAR. All right. I really don't. And honestly, when I sit back and watch it, I end up having a nap. But I was thinking about doing a fantasy NASCAR league, because it's really simple, right? You just pick a driver. You have a draft and you get your drivers and stuff, and then you basically just pick your driver or your two drivers or whatever. So it's really easy to play. It's not something where you're constantly having to switch positions and you got like 12, 15, categories that you got to choose from. It's just a car or two. What would you think about that? We'll talk about that in this. If you're able to make it Sunday, late morning, early afternoon sports show. I need to come up with a new background for the sports show podcast. So I need to do that. I'll probably do that Saturday. Need to come up with a new background. That would be fun, though. Because really, like, a person that never watches NASCAR like me, or even knows about it much, could definitely play a fantasy NASCAR league. You know, I mean, seriously, it's that simple. I did one before, and I was like, damn, that's pretty easy. You sit back most of the time. What's up, Justice? I'm just getting ready to hop on. Fingers crossed and prayers for your health. Are you a sports fan, Justice? There's a Brian Enton video I forgot to play here. 1 second. Thank you for hopping in. Ooh, this is from Brian Netton an hour ago. What? What is he talking about?
Hey everybody, I just wanted to get on here.
Yes, I like live racing, not on TV. Yes, hopefully you're getting better each day. We're thinking about maybe doing a NASCAR fantasy league or something, you know. I'm gonna be talking sports Sunday late morning, early afternoon. I'm gonna have a sports show instead. Football, basketball, NASCAR, stuff like that. Just talking about different things. Unless you're having a live or something, then I'm not going to, because I'm going to be in your live. Okay. Something about a new show or new video coming up. Used to be into boxing. You know what, Caroline? I used to too. Like in the 90s and the 2000s. Oh my gosh. I was pay-per-viewing everything. I was pay-per-viewing everything. And then after that, I think the last two fights that I watched, I should say that I pay-per-viewed, was Lennox Lewis Tyson. There was another one. It was Oscar De La Hoya and Vargas, I think it was. I mean, those were the last two that I pay-per-viewed, and after that but they do have Friday night fights, I think, on Fox, I think it's on Fox. Pretty neat. Should end with a funny video. Oh, you fell today. Oh no. WWE. Basketball in the 80s. I was into wrestling and basketball, of course. Yes. I wasn't a thought in the 80s. You were part of the corn that Kelt's parent said, you better eat this or you ain't going to bed. Oh my gosh. Oh, poor thing. Well, we'll just check this video out tomorrow. I should probably end the show now. It's already, I'm already 20 minutes past. Man, I don't know. I might be hopping on Twitch. I'm not sure yet. But if I do, you'll get the live notification. Just make sure you hit the bell on there too. And you'll see if I'm playing something. I don't know. I might go to the casino. I might go to GTA. I might go to Fortnite. Red Dead. I haven't even played Red Dead for a while. Yes. Oh my gosh. Justice. Remember that game when Reggie hit 13 points in 6 seconds in the playoffs against the New York Knicks? Remember when he was doing this to Spike Lee? Remember, Justice? I remember that shit. Those were some good playoff matches. Justice, if you're feeling good and you're not doing anything Sunday late morning, early afternoon, hop in the sports show. Let's chat sports for real. Oh my gosh. I don't think so, and they probably won't. I know. Red Dead is the most amazing, beautiful video game. Seriously, Red Dead is the most amazing, beautiful game, but they just don't do anything with it, unfortunately. Cross-platform, I play Warzone, Fortnite. If you have Four Kings Casino and the Four Kings Casino and slots, that's cross-platform. You could go bowling. You could go play bingo. I usually go play poker, Texas Hold'em. Maybe I'll do that if I play some games tonight. Maybe I'll just go to the casino and play some poker. That might be kind of neat. Y'all can sit there and watch me play some poker. Trying trying to think of what else is cross-platform that I play. Construction Simulator is cross-platform. I play that. I got Farming Simulator, the new one. That's cross-platform. I play that. I played with PlayStation, people on PlayStation on Farming Simulator. I just don't know how to fucking farm. No, not a real casino. No. Go to the Play Store or whatever it's called on your shit, Cassie, and see if you see the Four Kings Casino and Slots or whatever. That's the casino I'm talking about. One game that I do know is if you like baseball, Cassie. If you like baseball, I know this is cross-platform too. Super Mega Baseball 3. I love playing that game. And I'm pretty sure PlayStation has it. Super Mega Baseball 3. Cross-platform. It is so much fun. Oh my gosh. Seriously, check it out. Look up the gameplay video. It's so customizable. I mean, it's amazing the customization you can do with it. Plus, it's so much fun. The characters' names. It's almost like if you remember Garbage Pail Kids, they're not that graphic of names. But the names that they come up with these people are kind of like comical, kind of like... It's pretty cool. It's like a Super Mega Baseball 3. Anybody can play that. I just opened myself up for a slam. Oh, another game that I do play is 3-on-3 freestyle. That's a 3-on-3 basketball game. That's free as well. The Four Kings Casino and Slots is free. It's a free game for, well, Xbox anyway. And what was that game I just said? Shit. Oh yeah, 3-on-3 freestyle. That's a free game as well. 3-on-3 basketball. It's pretty neat. I haven't played that for a while either. Man, there's so many games that I'd like to hop on. What time is it? 10:30? It is Friday tomorrow. I found the Four Kings, but my system must need it. Yeah, you can go bowl on the Four Kings Casino is so cool. They have tournaments every weekend. You can go bowling. You can play bingo. They got a daily spin, a wishing fountain. You got all sorts of slots. I mean, it's so cool. But you can go bowling, Cassie. You could go bowling. Maybe I'll hop on there. Only 8:26. Oh yeah, that's right. You are a couple hours behind. All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and hop off. Yeah. I want a new Harry Potter game. You know what I thought about? Because I love Star Wars, right? But I don't know. I love Star Wars, and because with Xbox you get all these games for free. It's called Game Pass. You get like fucking a gazillion games for free, and they're constantly rotating. And it's Lego Star Wars. It's Star Wars. It's called the Skywalker Saga, but it's Lego Star Wars. I thought about playing that sometime too. But if anything, I need to come out with a new Sims 4 episode, because I'm about to play for some people out in the street for tips. But all right, everybody. I'll see if I see you on Twitch, if I hop on tonight. If not, I'll be back for tomorrow night's show. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Thanks for helping us knock out this shit. Thank you for the conversation, the brain stew. Thank you for hopping in, Justice. It was Old Republic on the PC. Yes. Alrighty, see you guys tomorrow night or tonight if I hop on. Please have a peaceful and positive evening. Be safe, stay warm, and prayers and fingers crossed for everybody. Especially you, GSD. Please be safe. I'll see you when I see you, because you know I will.